Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, January 24th. I'm desperately clicking around my computer to try and lower this in my own heads, but it's still there we go. Now that's nice and quiet. Welcome, everybody, to the Giant Bombcast, episode 773. Thank you for joining me in these other two that makes us three for the Giant Bombcast. Did I say the date already? Yep. Okay, I'm going down the checklist now. My name, Jan Ochoa, that's me, everybody. I'm your host for the Giant Bombcast, but I can't do this alone. Co-captain of the ship, as always. He's bussing every day. Jeff Grubb.
We're bussing, yeah. Woo. I'm just imagine me dipping down right now. I'm looking very, very fly, very fashionable.
Yep.
And I'm bussing.
Bussing, yep. Double dipper himself, Jeff Bacalar.
Oh, you know it. That's how I bus. I double bus.
You double bus. Yeah.
I'm double bussing.
Is double bussing, is that like when you take the bus back on your commute? Like you don't get picked up by anyone?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's your double bussing.
It's when a bus is on top of another bus. That's how baby buses are made.
Like in the UK, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, that's a double bus.
Two buses fucking. Okay?
Yes, come on.
That's what it is.
Cuss in the first minute. We can't cuss in the first minute.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Damn it.
It's two buses 69ing.
Start over. Here we go.
Hold on. No, because like two buses, there's no...
Did you ever do that as a kid? I used to make all my cars 69.
That's just an 11 because they can't
maybe
curl in.
Yeah,
maybe where you shop. But where I shop,
you gotta get a gremlin and a beetle and all. They kind of have that shape to it.
It's a good old fashioned vehicular 69 is what that is.
All right. I don't know if we can title the podcast that, but that's going up on my list.
Listen, completely unrelated. I've got a kid at home today
I'm so sorry.
Who is lying his ass off.
Man, what is with kids and lying?
This kid is so full of shit. Okay. Sunday night he puked, whatever.
Sure.
Yesterday, perfectly fine. Today, perfectly fine.
Oh, he's playing hooky? Oh, never mind. I'm on his side.
Playing hooky.
I'm on his side. Never mind.
Dad, he's like, oh, I guess I gotta play Vampire Survivors, Dad. I'm like, no, you're not. You little bitch, you're not.
Wow.
I'm keeping my voice down because he's like,
yeah, of course,
down there. He's playing hooky, and I don't like it. We got today. Stacey's in the city. I'm at home by myself. I got.
You got.
Man. I played hooky so many times. It ruled.
I played hooky one time because I got a UPS notification that my soap shoes were coming in.
Well, listen, that's just priorities.
Yeah.
That's just you like knowing what was important there. I'm sure I've told this story probably recently, but I played hooky and then my parents had to go to work. I was just old enough that they could leave me home alone and they could tell I wasn't that sick. And I walked to the store and rented a Super Techno Bowl and brought it home and played it. So
as you do.
Yes. And the guy was like, shouldn't you be in school? And I was just like, yep.
Dude, that is just world 1-1 for like being sick, right? Yep. Like walk over to Blockbuster. That's it.
Yep, it ruled.
Before we continue on with the show, we have to address the elephant in the virtual room. That's right. AR has gone too far. Nope. Unfortunately, if you've not been following the news and the updates with the Giant Bomb team and the overall company, unfortunately, we lost two of our own in the process. We lost Jason A. Stryker and Jess O'Brien. Also, we wound up losing our sweet little art boy, Justin Vachon. Both of them, or all three of them, are still alive. Don't be alarmed. They're alive and well. They're all on the internet. If they have a means for you to go and support them, by all means, check that out. I just want to say I love all three of them. And Jess, Jason, Justin, even though the papers say differently, you will always be part of Giant Bomb. And it is very, very difficult to imagine the site popping into these Monday meetings and general goings abouts without y'all. I'm going to miss you. This community is going to miss you. And and Godspeed wherever, whoever is fortunate enough to swoop up any of them. Yeah. Massive talent. We don't need to go into depth too much about how great each of them are. Y'all already know this if you've been coming to the site. Gents, anything y'all want to say?
Yeah, I'd just say this episode's probably going to be us like getting on with it, because we've had these tough conversations for the last several days. Like, it's been all we've been talking about, and we've both decided we want to keep doing this. We want to keep being giant bombs, so we're gonna do it. So if it feels like we're hopping along, trust me, we've spilt our beer and spilled our tears, and it's like, okay, now it's time to get back to work, and hopefully we can all figure out what that means together. I'm ready to do it. It's just it's been painful. It's going to be painful for a while, but I'm ready to do it.
Yeah. The only thing I'll add is, obviously, echo the the things you guys both said for sure. I think it's worth saying that, like, it's going to take a little bit of time figuring all this out and understanding like what the next step is.
Yeah.
And steps rather, right? It's not just one. So, it's going to be a collaborative journey. We're going to figure it out, and that's that's the absolute truth there. So
yeah, and y'all have heard this a million times over when anything happens on the site, and this may just be pure stupidity on my part. I don't want to put words in either of the Jeff's mouths. They can pick it up, they can lick it, put it down afterwards. They can return it to the kitchen. But I still have, whether it's earned or unearned, confidence and odd excitement for whatever's next, because it can literally be anything at this point. And hey, we completely understand, but I would love if y'all stuck with us for the ride.
Yeah. And, we're dealt a certain hand of cards, and it's easy to imagine or to blame the dealer, and obviously in certain circumstances, like, yeah, that's fair. But we are going to play what we're dealt, and we're going to figure it out. Like, and yeah, I think I'm excited too, Jan. I mean, as far as we can be today, it's hard, but I see a pathway forward with y'all in this team, and there's still reasons to be excited.
Yeah,
for sure. I think if there's anything to take away that I personally take away and feel really good about, is the fact that, like, all of us are just going to endlessly, seek out and chase after the things that we want to do. Right.
Yes.
And that's super important. And,
and that's all still on the table, right? That's
exactly.
That's what this is still. Yeah,
for sure. And if we can feel good about the stuff that we're doing, then, that's the best that personally we could ask for. And hopefully, everyone watching and checking out our stuff gets exactly what we're getting out of it, for sure.
Yep. 100%. 112%. Y'all ready for some story time as like a little pivot, a little palate cleanser?
Listen, the only stories I like are about dogs, so it better be about dogs.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. You got one of those?
Oh,
I got one of those. Here, I'm going to hit the theme for story time. It's time for stories.
Beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. That was an original. My story is Scout and the Pug Thugs. So, one of my favorite dog breeds are pugs. I like their smushed little faces. They're like me. They have breathing problems. Because I feel like a pug's life would exponentially increase in quality if they had a CPAP machine. I don't think they make that for dogs.
Yeah. No. Do they?
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So, my partner and I, we take Scout. Scout's like 4-ish months old now. She's had all her vaccines. We take her to one of the local dog parks. And as we're walking up, my partner gets excited and she sees a bunch of pugs. And she said, Jan, look, pugs, it's your favorite dog. And I'm like, oh, look, pugs. And the dog park is dead.
Wait, real quick, was Scout just like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, when you say that in front of her, were you just like, she's like, what the fuck, dude? I'm standing right here.
She was distracted by a leaf in the wind, so she was fine. And the dog park divided small dog, big dog section. Scout's still pretty young, so we decide to put her into the small dog section with all of these pugs. There's French bulldogs too, so everyone that has breathing issues.
The Hall of Fame of breathing issues right there.
There's just plenty of oxygen above this area.
You exhale, and then they're just like lapping it up, like please, I need to breathe, please. And then we're thinking, like, like Scout, like she's done pretty well at some puppy socials. Her best dog friend is a Bernese Mountain Dog that's like 4 times her size, and she hangs tough, so we can get through it. We go into the small dog park.
Oh hell yeah!
I unleash the my little sweet dog tur.
Yeah. Aww.
And then my dog tur is harassed.
Yeah,
and
just messed up. Yeah.
By 2 spirited pugs, 3 French bulldogs, and they're all just fucking and one tries to mount my sweet little daughter. Because
did no one prepare you? The
thing is, she is the only female dog in this dog park, I think, because it's all these horny ass little pugs and French bulldogs and these fucking pug thugs. And I quickly yelled at my partner, just lift her up, put her on the bench. Because I'm thinking, all right, these pugs, these little pug thugs, they're short. These French bulldogs are short.
And the altitude, like they wouldn't be able to handle the thin air.
Exactly,
like
the thin air.
Any more feet above them, they die.
Yeah. So, my partner puts Scout onto the bench, and we're thinking like, all right, cool, we're safe. Then these pug thugs, the most athletic pugs I've ever seen, jump up onto the bench, and they're like, their tongues are fully out, their eyes are emboldened with lust, and then I'm like, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
So then I unleash Scout, and then I run away, and then I just look back at these stupid little pug thugs just panting and like they're trying to climb the gates, but they're losing air and oxygen as they're trying to climb and have any more physical activity. So, be careful with your little dogs at the park is the moral of my story.
You gotta shield your little doggy from the horrors of the horny dog world. I mean, that's the reality of it, dude.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm pretty frightened about the concept of engorged, horny pug eyes. Like that is definitely scary. So I don't blame you. You got to do something. Are you gonna get a shotgun or what?
I feel like, maybe like a mobile like little spritzer with like lemon water and like
yeah, there you go. Yes,
that'll get you. Pug thugs.
Perfect.
All right. Anyone else want to participate in story time while we're in the designated story time segment?
No. My daughter's moved on to the Kirby cartoon that was out in the 90s, and now she's learning. I never watched this, and she comes at me talk about escargoon and how she wants an escargoon.
Oh, weird.
And it's like, and I'm like, is that a snail bad guy? Turns out it's a snail who's a bad guy because he's escargoon. And so she's been teaching me stuff now, and I'm like, okay, well, and of course she wants a toy, so I go looking and like they never made, as far as I can tell, they never made escargoon toys. So I'm like on Etsy now, and like, this stuff gets expensive fast. So I'm like, well, maybe we have to wait for your next birthday and see if you actually still like Kirby before that happens. But that's where I'm at. And she's bringing me 50 drawings a day of all these different characters. She's now very into Meta Knight. So I've mostly, like, Meta Knight stuff is mostly passing by. I've played a lot of Kirby. Haven't had many interactions with Meta Knight. She's telling me all about Meta Knight. And she's like, I like 2 things. This is how she says it. I like 2 things, Dad. I like Kirby because Kirby's cute. And I like Meta Knight because Meta Knight is cool. And like that's exactly how she says it. I'm like, oh, fair enough. Okay.
She gets it.
So yeah. I'm getting a real education now. And yeah, she's just, the Kirby love is increasing. Escargoon, I do believe, is a meep. We asked Addie and she said yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's because of no, I'm sorry. It's because of that show, that 4Kids TV show, that Meta Knight's voice in my head will forever have like a little Spanish accent. Little Banderas adjacent.
Yeah, and King DD is definitely got the foghorn, leghorn thing going. That's pretty wild, actually. That's not what I expected this Penguin King to sound like.
Jeff Beckler.
So, just real quick, the story I told last week about Toto's Africa. First off, a lot of people yelled at me that I did not bring up arguably the best Toto song out of all of them, which is Hold the Line, which, yes, I agree.
How's that
Hold
one go?
The Line is Hold the line. Down, 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 down. Love isn't always on time. It's from Wet Hot, the greatest film of all time.
Yes.
And, you know, it's probably the best Toto song. Also, kind of come to my attention that almost unanimously people are saying that I've been fucked with in a way that I just didn't realize when it was happening.
Okay.
And I just want to, it's going to take some time to like earn people's trust back. You know?
I mean, you thought at the time that was a possibility. What was there some other revelation that's happened since then, or what?
No, just like the constant. You know, someone else also sent me this John Mulaney bit where I think he was in a restaurant and the song was "It's Not Unusual" was playing forever.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, that's very similar. And I just think like
that's like actually unusual.
Yeah, it just seems like this is a thing that was being done. And I fell into the trap. I got stuck in the quicksand, and I was just like, "Ooh, I bet there's more quicksand here. Cool." And I just kept going and going, and I just it consumed my day.
I mean, listen, I gotta back on. You are the perfect target for that because you could never let it go. You could never let it go. You're Baccalaureate. This is like you're like I have got to figure out what's going on. Like, and it's like, yeah, that's it. That's the quicksand.
And it's because I could not deal with the fact that like an establishment was letting this happen.
Right.
And
is it because it was a winery?
Like, this is weird. This is bothering me. And then I'd be like, I'm just gonna well, obviously they're just messing with me. I'd have to move on, but no way. Yeah. Well, at a certain point, you're like, someone should be doing something.
Yeah, so you know, I'm glad I shared it with everybody. I maybe didn't realize how silly I was as a person, but man, I'm just not over it. I don't know. Anyway,
let me tell you, you telling that story reminded me how I used to participate in my own dark patterns in the coffee shop. I hated making ice drinks, so what I would purposely do is I would make the store, I would jack up the AC and make it super cold, so no one, if you're hanging out in the store, would want cold coffee. Additionally, I noticed on Sundays when we got super busy, one time, Don't You Forget About Me from Breakfast Club, right, was playing, and then absentmindedly, everyone on bar just goes, hey, 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 hey. And then we wound up getting fat tips because of it. So then I noticed, so I started doing this anytime it got super busy, I would put on Don't You Forget About Me, because 3 times out of 10, and turn up the AC.
So you got hard nips and big tips.
Exactly. The giant bomb motto. Let's talk about some video games. It's not playing. There it is.
Shit. That's another T-shirt.
We have like 2 quarters right where the implied nips would be, right?
Oh,
there you go.
Exactly. And it should just
be a quarter. The best part of a quarter.
It should just be like Jeff Grubb's like giant face, right? And then the coins are covering his eyes, and his eyes are where your nips would be.
Fuck yeah.
Boys, we have a difficult job here because I feel like there's, you know what? Actually, let's skip the difficult job. Let's push it to a little bit later. I want to hear about this new PS5 controller.
Yeah.
What do you now?
I do.
So I believe this is called the DualSense Edge controller.
You're edging now. Okay.
It's all about that edging. I guess the only thing it does edge is battery life, but other than that, you know what?
This thing lasts long and it doesn't. So
exactly, it doesn't last as long as its cousin. Anyway, I really like this controller. It's a $200. I think it's $200. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's $200. $200 American dollars. Yeah,
$200 American dollars. It's basically, for if you don't know what this is, it's basically Sony's Elite controller for PS5. It is the same form factor, so it's going to work in your chargers and your any other sort of like accessories you have like that. Its main purpose is that, you know, the cool thing about it is it has interchangeable analog sticks, which, if that is something that you are deeply concerned about, like, you can do that. These have those concave analog sticks. It offers the well, I guess what's the the sort of like convex, those domey analog stick boys. There's something about the weight to this thing that feels more important
No shit.
Oh.
There is something about it, and I was worried because I was like, oh, this is going to be fatigue central. I'm going to pick up a regular DualSense 5 and throw it out the window because I've been practicing on such a heavier controller this whole time. But it is noticeably heavier. It has those sort of like stepped analog triggers in the back, so you can sort of like adjust the give that that happens when you pull them, which I find more cool than actually functional, because I just don't really see myself in a situation where I'm actively using that as much. I think part of, and like obviously a game like that, I can use a game that I use that in would be something like Call of Duty, where I'm like shooting, right?
You want to
so
have
you pull on the, but there's something about Call of Duty where I need a little bit of that give, because I don't want to miss.
It's designed for that, I think. So it's totally not going to make that much of a difference.
Right. The other thing it does have is these sort of programmable back paddles. You can add these little blades to the back, which I was not a huge fan of on the Elite, because I would always misfire them a bunch. They kind of don't give your fingers enough breathing room. You kind of have to like retrain yourself to grip this thing a little bit so that you don't accidentally hit those. And the other thing is it's got these programmable little like, Tam put it really well. They're like function keys on the bottom of each analog stick that you can bind. The thing I will say that makes this a better implemented controller, in my opinion, than the Elite is that the PS5 like instantly knows what this thing is, and it knows that like you can, and it integrates the sort of flexibility you have with customizing this right into the shell of like the OS, right?
Yeah, on Xbox, I think you have to like, it's the accessories app. You have to
it's like an app, and you got to go in, and it's just not.
I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, it's just not, and maybe that's gotten better. I haven't messed with it, but there is something a little bit more elegant about the implementation of this thing. I really like it, but I just don't know who on this earth, aside from like I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are.
I mean, I could show you them. They're always yelling at me about my 3 out of 5 Returnal score. So like it's PlayStation fanboys, and you know what? They deserve nice things too. So
100%. Like if you want to spend $200 on this very impressive piece of hardware, like go crazy. Like God bless you. Do it up. It's just if you're just like, oh, I need an extra controller, you could buy 4 of the other one almost for the same price. So think of it like that. But I really enjoy it. I really like using it. I swapped out the sticks, and then I realized I don't like convex sticks. I don't like those domey boys. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. It's a pretty cool piece of hardware. And I think there are Call of Duty people. Again, I speak to that because that's the thing I play, the most lately, aside from other games, which we'll talk about later today. But people are like, they're a little salty about like the drop button. So people who are binding like prone to like one button instead of having to hold down the B button they think that's like cheating, and they're like, oh, it's an unfair advantage and all that sort of stuff. I don't know what to tell you. Get a life. But
yeah,
but yeah, it's dope. I'd be lying if I said that this is bad. It is a excellent controller.
I am curious because like I feel like whenever one of these controllers comes out, the use case is often for an FPS like COD. Because two of my best friends went down the expensive controller rabbit hole because they both play COD extensively.
Right.
I want to see if there are people in like the FGC that use like the back paddles for anything, if there's any mapping there or whatever. Maybe. Just to like help them
Rocket
out.
League. I bet Rocket League players use that kind of stuff. Like, yeah,
that's good. That's a good shout.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. One other thing I'll add is it comes with a really cool like Stormtrooper kind of case with a hard shell. It's a nice braided wire, and then you got your selection of like the little domey sticks and whatnot. There are blades on this that have a smaller profile. They're like really, really tiny. So I should try those out more in the effort to not accidentally hit the other longer ones that they have that like have a much bigger real estate that they take up. But yeah, it's sick. It's an impressive little toy there.
200. Sure. Tough pill to
it's
swallow.
It's a 200.
The
The
200.
200.
Yeah, I'm maybe if it's like ever on. I don't know. I probably won't because
never
even my
are.
Elite I don't use that much anymore. I'm
The
pretty
Elite-
happy with the standard controllers on both of them right now. So I just don't know.
Definitely. If you and I think that's an important distinction, right? Like, I don't think this controller gives you something that like the DualSense is desperately missing, right?
Okay.
So I think
Right.
you're like well served with that, and I think that's important to point out. I think this just like really blows out the customization options. You could even rebind like the standard buttons on this if you wanted to be a total psycho.
Yeah.
Also, it's funny you bring up the Elite because I like fished one of them out of a closet when this one came in. I've grown to hate the Elite
Really?
because the analog sticks have like a springiness to them where like the recoil is enough that it delivers an input. Like like if you let go of one of those analog sticks, because I was using it to play like Spider Heck. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Spider Heck. It's pretty
I
cool.
don't know. Want to talk about it?
Yeah, maybe we'll get to it. Like I was seeing that like letting go of one of the sticks was like giving me an opposite end of the spectrum input because of how springy those.
That's wild. Yeah. That was. I don't know if I'm ever letting go of the stick in that way, but I suppose that some games you would. So
I'm just like a big gamer. I feel like
I think that's what it.
Oh,
Because
right.
you're a big gamer.
Yeah.
Big
So-
gamer tings.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Just sitting there flinging your sticks around. You gotta. Yeah. You want that neutral. That
guess-
neutral stick.
I guess I would do that if I was like playing Skate, just letting go of the stick.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Well,
It's like weird. Like, and I have two of them,
like that
and it happens on
springiness, I
both
think.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That springiness. I don't know. Because I was just. And we'll talk about it in a game coming up. But I was just like messing around with the analog stick because nothing else was happening inside the game, and I'm just like, I don't like the way this just feels normally. Something has to be happening on the screen, or else it just feels wrong on the DualSense. So, but yeah, I don't know. The springy things haven't bothered me too much. I haven't seen that recoil input, but if that does happen, that just sounds like another flaw with the Elite. And there's many flaws with those things. Absolutely,
For sure.
heavier than a regular DualSense backlight?
Yes. Noticeably.
Noticeably. Okay.
But that's okay. Like,
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh yeah, I mean that's I like that heft if it's going to be like your big expensive controller. It does like you said, I mean, more important. I think it could have been taken as a joke, but I know what you meant. Like it feels like, man, this thing feels like it's got that heft. It's sticking in my hands and like it's not moving around. It's like the grip because of the weight, the grips like work even better. So yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm using that 8-bit do ultimate for Dead Space now, and like
I mean that's
that controller's fucking awesome.
It's I use it. This is what I'm using all the time now. Is the ultimate. It's
So
so
good.
good. Yeah.
Well,
Man, love it.
heavy grips, hard nips, big tips. That's the continued giant bomb
Yeah.
Wow,
family
it's so
crest.
much heavier than the 8-bit. Oh my god, dude.
Oh yeah, the 8-bit dough's like really kind of fluffy in terms of its weight. It's kind of got like almost a floatiness to it, but still it feels sturdy. Still, that's what's nice about the 8-bit dough.
Totally.
Last question for you. If you were to throw it right at a wall in frustration, do you think it'd break?
The wall, yes, this would break the wall.
Okay.
I'm trying to see the wall I hate the most in this room. To try this out on. I'll get back to you.
Okay. All right. I'll wait with bated breath. Jeff Bakalar, to continue the tech talk here, maybe we should just spin this out, just do like a show and tech type of thing one day.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I buy a bunch of dumb crap that I'd like to share with y'all. Maybe a Monday. Want to do that this Monday?
Stream. Yeah, let's do it this next Monday. Get together, show some stuff off. I would love that.
Okay, cool.
Toys, tech.
Cool. Let's review it. Not like any hard numbers, but like hard numbers, like soft
Come up
numbers.
with a review. Okay, yeah, we'll come up with a review scale. I love it.
Ooh,
A fork-based review scale.
a fork-based review scale. Yeah, nothing bad can happen on a Friday night. Anyway, you put this on the dock here, the 4070 Ti.
Yes. I was lucky enough to have a PNY 4070 Ti delivered to my home, and it is a very fast GPU.
How hefty is it?
Okay, that's what this is more about. I came from a 3080, and I've been playing a game that we can't really talk about until
Soon,
a couple days. But like that game, I do have another machine I was able to put the 3080 into, and compare it to my 4070 on both 4K LG monitors. And, I was not expecting a massive sort of increase in frames, but you are getting, I'll say this, there's been a noticeable bump. I think the other bump, in performance, obviously, I think the frame wise, it's probably not that substantial. The thing that is impressing me about the 4070 Ti is that it is a noticeably quieter card.
Oh,
that's nice.
I think it's drawing less power. It's having to cool itself off less frequently than my 3080. My 3080 was loud.
What do you run your games at? Like 1080, 1440p?
So standard's 1440p.
Okay.
When I hook them up to the TV behind me, I do have a wire that goes. I do 4K for that. Yeah. So I've been playing that game at 4K, and it's
okay. That's impressive.
It is blowing me away.
Okay,
maxed out
being quiet at 4K is impressive.
Yeah. So it's. I've been throwing a lot of things at it. I have that 3080 installed in that other machine. I'll continue to do that. The thing that I want to really, and I know obviously I glanced for a second at chat and everyone's like roasting the 4070 Ti because of, I think it had a bit of bad PR, right?
Sure.
It was supposed to be the 4080, right?
The pricing for graphics cards got way out of whack in the last couple of years, and the 4070 Ti is the poster child for that right now.
Right. So obviously that information is out there. This is not necessarily a conversation about that. I do think what this graphics card has made me realize is we are making these too long. These cards are getting too big. They are not fitting in the same spot that you just had a 3080 in. And this wasn't a Founders 3080. This was I think a gigabyte 3080. Okay. Oh. So it's, the Founders one is actually, I think, relatively smaller.
Pretty compact, yeah.
The third party one was a long boy. I take this thing out and I start to slowly pop it in my my NZXT case that I have here, and it's just not fitting.
Oh no.
And it's probably, I'd say 15 millimeters too long, which is not a lot. Right. And I'm just I don't know what to do here. This is insane. And the thing that it's bumping into is another radiator. So it's not like you can just take that off.
What in that situation, what is your solution, do you think? Because I would be I guess I'm driving to Micro Center. Here I go.
No, so I did it. It's in the machine. And I'll tell you how.
Sawzall out or something?
Oh, I don't know if this is bad, but this is what I did. And I was very proud of myself. So I have it open. I'm do it. When you have a computer case open, it's open heart surgery. You're just oh, you start sweating. You're just oh, am I grounded? What's happening? Oh, there's screws everywhere. Oh my God, where's this? I forgot where this wire is supposed to go. I don't remember. That's what a cardiologist surgeon probably does, right? They're just
probably.
I'm certain it is, yeah.
They're all over the place, right? So I'm just God damn it. So I could not make it work where I could just slide it in. I had it, tilted to either degree, maybe 5 degrees, and it was going in, but I just couldn't make it perfect. I couldn't make it completely parallel to the port so it could slot right in. So I'm just looking around at this thing, and then I start to get curious about, I'm just what can I unscrew on this graphics card? What can I just take off to make work? And here's what I did. I took off the entire plate that covers all of the input and output ports on the back of it, because it's got that little L bracket that fits into the back of the case where you screw in, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The little I took that off, and it opened up an entire maybe 20 millimeters of space.
Ooh.
Okay, but there's nothing for this thing to latch onto where you when you get it fixed into the back of your case, right? There's nothing to screw it down into. It's got this it's got the PCI Express port, right, that locks in, but you also have to give it more support by screwing it down. And this thing takes up 3 bays, right? So you gotta hold this sucker down. It is not just gonna hang out on that PCI port. You got
the PCI
really
port is not a load-bearing PCIe port. Yeah.
No, this is not. You can't just take that beam down and have an open area kitchen. Okay, it's not how that works. So I basically, put it in. I let it rest in the PCI port, and then I reattached the anchor while it was plugged in from the back.
Okay, this makes sense. This works.
So like I basically slid. So it's a super thin piece of metal. Okay, I'm looking to see if I have it. I don't have another one of them. And I just slid it down into the thing, and I got all 5 screws magically locked in. And then I was just like, I guess I'm done. There is a support bracket. Okay, they literally, for these like oversized graphics cards, they now provide you with these like, I guess I don't know what you would call them. They're just like support brackets where you can fix them to either the case or the motherboard itself to hold up the entire card, because it's just such a heavy, just a hefty boy, you know? Yep. You don't want that sag. You don't want that GPU sag. So I got that thing installed, and then I finally screwed in the back plate. It looks all right. It's been there for like a week.
I mean, it's running quiet, so you got to assume like the airflow's fine.
It's doing its RGB bullshit. It's playing all these games pretty well and effectively, and it's whisper quiet. That I'm not blowing smoke here. It's super silent.
And neither is that card.
What's that?
And neither is that card.
Exactly.
I was playing that video game on the 3080 Ti here, and it was like, man, like that thing is pretty noisy actually. And these 40 series cards are expensive, but man, maybe being quiet could be a benefit to work and stuff. So I might look into getting one.
I had to write like all these new fan profiles for that 3080 because it got to the point where like it was just a roller coaster of bullshit.
Yeah.
And now so far out of the gate, this thing is much noticeably quieter. Like I've yet to really hear it rev up, and I'm throwing a lot at it. So yeah, it's cool.
Sick.
There you have it.
Sick. There you have it. That's the show and tech segment. We're just gonna spin it off. There you go. Let's do that Monday. Come back Monday. Time? I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Afternoon, after the meeting.
Yeah, in the afternoon. Let's talk about some games that we can discuss in further detail. All right, boys. We're caught at a fork in the road here, right? We talk about the good game. We talk about the not so good game. I know that we have a segment called Game of the Week, but there can also be a bummer of the week. How do we want to end the first segment of the pod? Do we want to?
I say let's go into the not so good right now.
Yeah.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure about anything. I just say stuff, Jan.
I mean, historically, don't we end on Game of the Week?
Yeah, but I mean, like,
listen, it's Jazz here on the Giant Bombcast, baby. We just do what we feel like.
Yeah, we just have a picture of a dog right now on the side. You know, that dog's not playing any games.
Is that dog okay?
She's sleepy. All right, well, let's talk about the not Game of the Week. Let's talk about Forspoken.
Okay.
This game seemed okay.
Okay. Can I start? Can I start?
Yes, you start, please.
I really, really liked the demo, and that instilled me with a false sense of hope. I think the demo, let's say, built up false expectations and gave you too much from the get-go. That I thought as soon as I start going on actual Forspoken, it'd be neat. It's not neat.
It takes some time to get anywhere close to neat, huh? I want to. I don't know what it means to be fair to a game. That's like a made-up idea, made-up concept. You can only go into a game with your own feelings. When we talk about our feelings on a game, all we can do is give our feelings on a game. But I do want to try to come in to be like. Do set aside some expectations, and obviously a lot of the discourse has been, this dialogue is super cringy, and I definitely see some of that. It's not nearly as bad as it could be, I think, and really it's not my issue with this game at all. My big issues are that it feels really cheap, and that it gets in its own way. The number of times that I am sitting around with this character and she's just standing in the middle of the scene and I'm waiting for the scene to start and I'm
paralyzed.
hitting that stick and nothing happens. It is one of the worst feelings I've ever had in a video game. It feels terrible to be like, it looks like she should be able to move. All right, let's start moving around. Even like, okay, I get it. Yeah, someone's still talking to me, but let me at least like run around. No, you're just sitting there perfectly still, and it just feels awful. And it's like, man, I don't know why this game presents it this way, where it looks like my character should be able to move, and I can't, because it feels really bad. And that happens especially when you're in the town, happens all the time. And I think it's that might sound like a minor thing. I think it's indicative of the way the entire game feels. It is just sort of pieced together, roughshodedly. Yes, it's a roughshod game. It's just been slapped together, and you could tell that they really could not glue the seams closed, and it's very noticeable. I think the combat is at best okay. I think the magic parkour, as they call it, does seem fun. It didn't feel great immediately. It takes a minute to like get used to it. That's okay too, but everything else is really cheap feeling.
The thing you described is so on point. Like, you ever have sleep paralysis?
No,
but and I don't want to, please.
Yeah, don't put that on me.
Maybe I'm like, I don't have it, but like every now and then I'll get like, you like wake up in the middle of the night and you just can't move for a second, but then like a second later you're fine.
Those are just demons.
Yeah, that's probably just ghosts, right?
Yeah.
But either way, like that is what it genuinely feels like. And I'm not overstating it, because Grubb, you're right. It feels so bad literally be like, oh my gosh, this game broken all of a sudden? I should be moving. All I'm doing is listening to my bracelet. Why can't I just move? I do not understand how that was overlooked.
Yeah.
And shipped as is with that.
To me, what that means is when they did let people move there, it caused bugs. And they just like the easiest solution was not to fix the bugs. It was, well, we just won't let people move.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to move right here. And so, okay, yeah, I guess I don't need to.
Good compromise.
But boy, does it make the game feel just slapped together in a real bad way.
I think I'm very happy you obviously brought up the dialogue stuff, because that's all I've seen in conversations. People, oh my God, that's all anyone cares about. Is some of it cringy? Yeah,
sure.
Of course. But like, most of it is fine.
Yeah.
Most of it is fine.
Most of it's fine. Also, it is an isekai. Isekai, I can never say it right. Isekai. And that stuff is actually kind of working well enough, where it's like this girl who is out of her element when she's in New York. The worst writing actually is the New York City parts.
We'll get there.
I want to save that.
We'll get there. But okay, so this girl who's like out of her element in New York City, trying to figure her life out, can't figure her life out. Now she's given this new opportunity to excel. All that stuff, the elements of what makes an isekai, a kid in King of Arthur's court, all that stuff actually does work. And when she does like meet some characters that want to help her and characters that she wants to help, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like rooting for this character in that context. But it's just like, it's not great either. It is very rote. It is very familiar stuff. But it's like it is not what is causing this game's issues. It's just not at all. I'll even like overreach in the opposite direction and say like, sometimes the acting's just fine. It's not even as bad as people are leading on. Yeah, I think the facial capture stuff is like pretty good, especially with the main character. She's like conveying a lot. It's all a little bit overdone, a little bit overacted, but for a video game, I really give a lot of leeway there, and I'm fine with that.
Totally. Like, I don't know what it is, but people are so horny to hate this game for that reason, and it's just completely blown out of proportion. It's like everyone acts like they exist in like this imperceptible Goldilocks zone of like comedic perfection or whatever it is that they're looking for, and that shit does not exist.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean? I do think it's like a part of the isekai is like having that character be a little bit like going to be out of their element, but still have that false sense of confidence. And I don't know. Again, I think it's fine.
Yeah. It is being held to this standard that I just don't understand why it is for this game. Like, I don't know why.
It's mostly people just building up a certain amount of distaste for that over time. And so when they see it, it is instantly I know Austin wrote something. I haven't read it yet. Austin wrote something about why he found it like off-putting. I'll have to read that and maybe we talk about it next week. But I know some people like have a reason why when they see that it's like, man, I gotta get out here. This isn't working for me. But it's I think in context, usually this is how this stuff works. In context, it's a little bit better. Now that the lines that were taken for that old clip of, yeah, that's something I do now. Like that stuff is still like, okay, that is the cringy stuff where it's like she is just really going ham on these lines, but it passes by so fast.
Yeah.
Again, it's not the problem.
And yeah, like maybe I saw someone tweet it somewhere, but they made like such an excellent point of like, it's like all you get everywhere and so much, entertainment is that style of, and I'm not saying that makes it good, but like, fuck, are you surprised? Like I just think there's this impossible standard thing that is taking shape and showing face. But I'm also glad, Grubb, that you highlighted the fact that like all that shit aside, this game's got way bigger problems, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Way bigger problems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think if I were to just say what the biggest problem is, it really is that it takes a long time to get going, right? It's you have this long introduction segment. Then you get to the world. Even once you get to the world, it is very slowly handing out very basic skills. Everything does have a big dialogue box attached to it, telling you how to do everything. And this is like those are other ways that it stops the action, or halts the action to tell you that stuff. And then that is usually couched. It's like surrounded by those other weird halts where it's like, then we're just gonna have your character stand perfectly still. So it's like it's constantly taking the controls away from you, constantly just like making you sit back and wait for the game to get going. And every time you're like, okay, well now it should be pretty fun. Now I have magic abilities. Well, no, now we're going to divert you in this other direction. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably a couple hours in. I'm not very long in, but it still feels like the game hasn't really started for me.
Yeah, I think that demo was a disservice to folks because the demo drops you and you have specific abilities, and the parkour, the running around feels like good running around. And then like you just get through the game, and then just like the trudge of getting back to that point where you are in the demo, just like I've just lost interest almost immediately. I didn't care for the story, echoing what y'all said. It's just the actual gameplay that's like, all right, well, maybe we just turn it in, folks. Maybe
it's time for me to saddle up here.
Maybe I'm gonna isekai my way out of here, huh?
I think there might be some fun in exploring the world. That's right where I'm at. I think I'm finally at the open world now. I went out, I fought some dudes, I got done fighting the dudes, and it's telling me to go this way to a waypoint. I went the other way, and there was a small little cave, and I found a cool thing, and that works for me in most video games. When I'm like, okay, I think that's everyone's experience, right? In a video game, you're supposed to go this way. So like, well, I see a room over there. I'm going to go over that way first. This game does that, like we've been doing for decades now, and there's no complaints. So that's a good way of designing a world. It's just it took a long time to get there, and even now, it's not necessarily as fun as some. Like I don't even know if it's as fun to explore this world as Sonic Frontiers. Like I think I'm more fun in Sonic Frontiers.
And there's just like a general like polish of clunkiness that's sort of glazed on top of the entire thing, where like certain games for me feel like weird input lag. Like I realize it's a decision to kind of like fine tune the experience, but it is on full display in this game where it feels like I almost have like a concussion, and I'm trying to like catch up with what my player should be doing and how different that is from the timing of the movement of my thumbs, right? Like there's just a sort of like desync that's happening there with how this game controls.
It's so bad when they force walking controls onto you as well. And I'm like, go that way. And she's like, well, I already got momentum. I'm already going this way, homie. So sorry, I'm going to do this first. And then I'll slowly turn like a goddamn oil tanker. I'm like, what? Why make it work this way? Yeah. It's so weird. Just let her run inside. But again, I think it's like, well, that probably caused bugs, and they didn't want to deal with that.
I've been playing it on PS4. I think in like quality mode, it's like it's not unplayable, but it's certainly flirting with unplayable. The second I kicked on performance mode, even performance mode is not performance mode. It's more
those things always feel like, man, if they don't come out of the gate real like baked, it's like it'll take a couple updates to really get there, and we'll see if this game does.
But I guess we gotta talk about NYC,
here we go, baby.
Right?
Here we go. As Backlar, I needed your take. I needed your point of view on this.
I'm like, this seems like pretty generic, but I don't know. Maybe New York's like this. I don't know. But I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. And then I heard you talk about it, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So tell us, Backlar, what's wrong here? What's going on here?
What's the New York problem here?
Look, the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh shit, they have like outdoor seating being represented there. We're like, after COVID, like everyone moved, a lot of restaurants in the city, right?
Yeah. Where the street parking used to be, they had like these long sort of boxy things where people could sit outside, right? That's what happened in New York.
Absolutely. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that in a game before. That's really cool. And that reminded me of New York. And that, folks, is where it ended. There's nothing else that resembles New York City in any way, shape, or form. The sidewalks are incredibly wide. And I realize New York gets credit compared to the rest of the planet as a fairly modern city because of the wideness of its sidewalks. But there's this weird sort of thing where you're like, am I playing inside of a game designed by somebody who just like saw New York City in like Home Alone 2 or something? Like, I don't know where that one-to-one inspiration comes from. This is a city that like is empty also. New York City is very populated. It is there. There was also like very strange like gated off areas wherever you go. It just doesn't feel
maybe she doesn't remember
like
it well. It's an isekai, right? There's amnesia.
You know what the most offensive part was? You look up and it was literally a galaxy of stars. And I was just like,
oh yeah,
that's not what the sky looks like there. There's only one star.
Like that. Yeah.
And everyone confuses it for the moon. Okay. It's just not how that works. There's no stars because there's too much light pollution. That's fine. Whatever. The main character has an apartment in like an abandoned building to which she enters it through the fire escape, and it's like boarded up, and it's just like, I don't know.
That's a squatter. It sounds like.
But like that. Okay, I don't know if that speaks so much to New York City. I mean, look. This is not on the level of Max Payne 3, where Max Payne 3 was convinced that Hoboken was some sort of like hellhole that it was like some war-torn Manhattan, satellite city. I don't know what the hell is going on there. It just seems just not. They're calling it New York. It's just not. There's a scene in this game is like weirdly obsessed with the Holland Tunnel at the beginning of it, which I thought was just like, okay. That's not a thing anyone really obsesses over, but I'll go along with it.
She's from the other side of the Holland Tunnel. Oh, shit.
They're setting up this story where she was like left at the Holland Tunnel. Where could anyone leave a baby at the Holland Tunnel? I don't understand that.
Oh,
They show you the Holland Tunnel. Do you guys see? There's a scene in this game where she's standing on like a neon light. Okay. And they do like a Jesus thing where it says the cross. Maybe I just saw this in a weird way. She's like standing above the entrance to the Holland Tunnel, right? And there's just like an apartment next to it or something. I don't know. Literally no fundamental understanding of what that part of Manhattan looks like. Fine. I'll go along with your like, impossible world. And she's standing on like a neon sign. I think the hotel is called The Crossing or something like that. But they do that. I just felt like weird Jesus vibes because they had
Jesus is from Manhattan, I think, right?
Yeah, from the Lower East Side.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And then like the ing is cut off and it just says the cross, and she was like standing on the cross. Oh, it was really weird. I don't know. Like there is weird Jesus vibes going on. That's fine. Whatever. I don't want to like
capitalism. Am I right? Weird Jesus vibes.
It's just weird. I don't know. I think like so. I'm playing this game in the beginning. I'm just like, oh my god, this is such a beautiful disaster of like what this game thinks New York City is. I love it.
The gangsters really too. Like Khan on Monday was pointing out, like they definitely felt like a Gap commercial or whatever, and they're getting attacked by them. It's like no gangster is going to be dressed like that coming at you trying to get their money or whatever. It's like
it was like a Uniqlo gang. Trying to attack. Yeah. It was really weird. Yeah, super strange. There's not that many chain link fences. Okay, all these cities with all these chain link fences. That's just not what it is. I don't know where all these.
Someone would just cut through it, so it's just gonna eventually just cut through it. Like you don't even need to put it up because someone's just gonna cut through it.
Anyway, I mean we're having fun with that, of course, but like that was a silly little part there. Although a part of me does want to spend more time in that weird New York City. Just want to mess around there a little bit. Yeah.
I would probably go watch the end and see what happens when she goes back to New York City, because I'm sure she does, and then maybe that's when you really get that payoff.
Maybe she was in New York City the whole time.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, Jan.
Maybe she's Jesus. The back of Beat the Bomb.
Yeah.
I hope she there's a scene where she goes back to New York and she she loses all of her abilities, all her cool parkour stuff. She has to get onto a scooter, and then she almost hits someone in a Gremlins costume as she's zipping by. I hope that happens.
That's my New York experience, so that'd be very realistic.
One can wish.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well,
that scooter was nowhere near me. Everyone overblew it. I was fine.
It looked bad on video.
I saw it coming a mile away.
From the angles.
You didn't see anything coming any mile away.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that was an engaging talk on Forspoken, but that brings us now to the. Does anyone else want to bring up any other games?
I was playing these two games, so this is it. Yep.
Likewise. The game of the week. Fire Emblem Engage. I don't know why I put a question mark, even though there's no question mark there. Fire Emblem Engage, boys. I don't want to. I was gonna say something inappropriate. It's just January, right? Is it the last week of January?
It's your month, baby.
We're getting basically, yeah.
I think we have a contender for Tiles of the Year already.
I think so. I think so.
And you're Grubb, you were talking about heft and momentum of the movement and stuff. Let me tell you, these are some good tiles, because instead of taking your character and then putting a little cursor on them and then you see the little arrows, now you just move them. You just move them in their tiles.
Nice.
I like the grids and everything. Fire Emblem Engage still has the blue and green and the red tiles to denote movement and stuff. But, we don't need to get into the granular stuff about tiles. This game bangs. It's good.
It rules. I went into it with pretty low expectations because I thought it wasn't looking good in trailers, mostly because I think they were going for that bright colors. And I'm like, that feels like it's there as a placeholder for what was really great character in Three Houses. And I think that's true to an extent. It just turns out it doesn't matter because the characters are good enough. And boy, the tile, the combat, it's never been better. It is the best example of what a Fire Emblem game can be. And I'm so happy that I spent some time with it, because I was like, oh, maybe this is one I'll skip. And I'm so glad I didn't, because it's really well done. It's they've really thought long and hard about what the combat needs to be for all the different kinds of players.
Yes.
Like I'm playing, you're playing on casual, I'm playing on classic, so I have permadeath. Well, they have this time stone that I'm pretty sure is new that enables you to flip back through every move, and it has a limited number of charges, but it's a pretty generous amount. It's like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like every time I make a mistake, okay, yeah, I can take it back, and I don't want my characters to die, so I am taking them all back. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to figure something else out here. But at these battles, they can be kind of long. So I'm getting to the end, and I've used all my charges. And now it's like, okay, I can't make another mistake, or else I will have to start this whole battle over again. Because again, I don't want to lose any of my characters. And it creates this huge sense of tension. I've learned a lot because I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've tried other things. And now I know what works. So I should technically have learned and figured it out. Turns out, yeah, I did. I was able to implement the strategies I learned from making mistakes, thanks to this awesome system. And so it's like, okay, all that stuff works. And then on top of that, it's like the camera, the visuals are more dynamic and better than ever. So it's like the action just feels so impactful. When you get a break, when you're using the weapon triangle correctly, it just feels like it really hits. Everything is so well done. And then the characters are mostly dumb cartoon characters, and I'm completely fine with that. They are at least visually appealing. Yeah. And maybe some of their dialogue is maybe we're coming at this both these games, I think, the same way, where it's like, this just is not bothering me the way it's bothering some other people, because I wasn't expecting that much from it. So it's it's totally fine that it's mostly just kind of cheesy cartoon dialogue, and it's just not hurting the game even a little bit. It's mostly just fine.
Totally. I also enjoy games, specifically like JRPGs, that just they're very aware that they have an obscene amount of systems, and let's just throw you into the deep end. You will eventually figure it out, and then you'll wade your way over it. They've scaled back on some stuff that folks may be disappointed from Three Houses. You spoke about like the characterization of some of the peeps in your party. I don't find myself super duper attached like I was to my band of miscreants in Three Houses.
Three Houses was the peak for that in Fire Emblem, where it's like you felt very attached to everybody.
Definitely. But I kind of like that I don't have to worry about juggling so many different Persona-esque social links other than the people that will eventually join my party, because that was something that I would stress out about on the day-to-day mission to mission stuff in Three Houses, where it's like, yo, you're not in my house, but I really want you to start partying with us. I gotta go do so many things to get you to like me.
Yep.
But here, you just get your party. Your party is who your party is, and you can have dinner with them. You can do push-ups and squats.
And in battle, when you battle alongside of them, you're still building those social links that way. So it all feeds into it. It's just a little lighter touch once you get back to the base. It's not so many things you have to do.
Yeah.
It's a handful of small things that happen pretty quickly, and I think I prefer that, actually.
I think I do too, because I found like the monastery in Three Houses to be a little too big, and you could menu around like you can in this game, but the Sam Neill, the hub,
we'll call it the Sam Neill.
The Sam Neill hub area, like it's big, but it's not overwhelming to the point where you feel like you do have to just go through the menus to get everywhere. I find myself just running around everywhere. Also, I guess I do like that the main protagonist actually has a personality rather than in Three Houses, who is just like a blank slate that you're randomly choosing dialogue for. But hey, that's preference for some folks. They don't want
that's
like
a matter of taste. Yeah.
I dig it a lot. It looks really, really good. We did a quick look this morning that's out on the website and on YouTube now. I don't know what else to say about it, Grubb. It looks really good. I hate to use the sentence of like, it looks really good for a Switch game, because it looks really good for a Switch game. And like you pretty much covered everything that's really great about it.
I'm just like, I mean, the engage systems. You mentioned this, right? Throws you the deep end. Like the good thing here is they want you to use all the systems, right? They want you to feel comfortable using something as cool as the engage, where, okay, we're going to give you these rings. You can send these rings out to one of the characters in your party. And then once they use that in battle, for a few turns, they're going to have special abilities, and some of them are going to be super OP and awesome, but it's limited. But don't worry, there's a lot of places on the map to like refill it instantly. Everything you're doing in combat is refilling that meter. So just use it right away, because you're going to want to use it a couple times during battle, and every time you do, it's going to feel awesome. And the camera work, the visuals, the animation, the dynamism of those scenes when you do engage is incredible. So it just has been fun every battle I've been in so far.
Yeah, I guess like we should talk about the engage system just a little bit more. This is how they implement ghosts or spirits of previous Fire Emblem characters. Like I know a lot of folks saw Roy, the Fire Emblem sword boys and gals. And you will get a ring that you can use to channel in their spirit, and that is how the whole engage system works. It winds up being like Jeff in JoJo's, what is like a strand or a spirit person thing? A stand. What is a stand?
A stand is like your ghost, your buddy ghost who has powers and does all your dirty work for you, and it fights for you.
Okay. It is like that.
Mike Minotti.
Wait, is your stand Mike Minotti?
Yeah, he does all my dirty work for me.
Oh, that's cool. I gotta get me one of those.
So your emblems are your stands, and then when you do engage with them, it becomes like a fusion Power Rangers Super Saiyan boost for about 3 turns. And like what Grubb said, just freaking use the abilities, because in tactics games, I find myself just like having choice paralysis, like, okay, no, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to keep waiting. I'm just going to keep waiting. I'm just going to keep waiting to fire off the big abilities. Here, it's like, yo, just fire them off, and then we'll give you stuff so you can replenish it and just keep firing it off. And it just looks so dang cool. I just want everyone to get married here, man. all these anime people to get married. Great.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the English localizers who, when a character is underage, like, nope, you can't marry him. And now they're just become business partners. At least that's one of the things that happened. It's like in the Japanese one, it's like they don't make it like, oh, we're getting married. It's like we could be like close friends and still be intimate. And it's like in the English version, it's like we will be business partners. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's cool.
There we go. I do want to also mention in the quick look, I came across the phrase that unfortunately I will be implementing into my daily dialogue, which is "Hiya papaya."
Hiya papaya. That's right.
Can you use that contextually, please?
Hiya papaya. It's like
Hiya papaya.
Instead of like "see you later, alligator," it's "Hiya papaya."
Oh, I think I like that.
I'm gonna say it to my kids.
Yeah, I feel like it's funnier when like a kid will say it to you, and then you just look at it like, "Oh, that's funny."
Yeah,
oh, that's good.
Look,
Cool.
look,
Feel good.
Look at you.
Feel good.
That is the game of the week, and that is the first segment of the show, folks. Fire Emblem Engage and Forspoken. If you were to choose one or the other, I'd definitely go towards Fire Emblem Engage.
It was an easy choice for me. Yeah, I really was like struggling to get into Forspoken, and then I started up Engage, and I just could not stop playing it.
Would you say that you were engaged?
I would say I was engaged. I said I was getting that engagement for me.
There we go.
4 engages out of 4.
That's right.
That's right, everybody. Get down on your knee. Get ready to engage. That was fantastic. Also, I forgot my point. Never mind. We're just going to fade to black, and we'll catch you after this quick little break. And we're back with the Giant Bombcast, episode 773. I feel like I should try and commission like a station identification that we play of like, hold on, let's turn
Time and temp. Do you want to do time and temp?
No, not time and temp, but like maybe I'll turn this one and this one on, and then I'll do this, and then let's see what this is like. You're now listening to the something like that.
That's very good. Yeah.
What the hell was that?
That was a robot getting its balls stepped on.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Robots have balls?
well, you can screw them on, you know.
Yeah, truck nuts.
Truck nuts. Yeah, exactly. Jeff, Grubb, I believe it is now time for the news.
Oh my god.
That's right, Demon Robot Jan. It's time for the news. I have put together some hot headlines from the past week. Let's get into them, starting with this thing that, I mean, I don't even know. More reports claim Sony has a PS5 revision coming soon. This one's all over the place. I kind of wanted to like just bring it up so we can wrap back to the things that are likely happening here. Some reports claim that a PS5 Pro with liquid cooling is in the works. That doesn't sound real. But who knows? Maybe they're testing it out, but that doesn't sound like something that they're actually going to make. More conservative rumors, though, I think mostly from Tom Henderson, claim that it's not a Pro or a Slim model that you should expect anytime soon. Instead, they're doing a full Gen 2 refresh of the standard PS5. This would replace the previous model on store shelves. Now, they've already done a couple of stealth revisions. Sounds like this one would only be more of a thing, not because it's going to change the shell all that much, but because it's going to sort of reset what they're selling. And
they're not going to change the shell?
Sounds like they're not going to significantly change the shell. If they do, the way they're going to change it is they might be getting this weird, like things are weird, and who knows? They're probably putting this into implementation. Whether or not they'll actually start selling it as a product is still, I think, debatable. But the thing is, what they're saying here is to save costs and to simplify the line, they're just going to sell a PS5, and that PS5 will not come with a disk drive built in, and instead they will sell a separate detachable disk drive that you can attach to any PS5. Cool. And it's okay. So, I mean, I guess that would be one way for them to usher in a digital future more quickly, because, of course, that would increase the number of people who just would be like, yeah, I'll get the disk drive later and then never get it.
No used games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the idea. I don't know how much Sony would be willing to sort of push to make that happen, though. But I think this is probably one way for them to save a little bit money on actually building the machines, because you take the disk drive out of every single one, and you only sell the disk drive to people who pay for the disk drive. Yeah, I guess. Does that mean they're going to increase the price of the digital only version? I don't know. Again, we don't know. I would still expect revisions to come from the PS5 here going through the next couple of months, years, whatever, as they continue looking for ways to save money. Whether it will look like this or not, we'll have to wait and see. Let me ask you guys, though, how are you feeling about the word PS5 Pro? You guys think that's still something that's going to happen?
Eventually. I didn't think anytime soon. I feel like, I don't know, with God of War last year, and I feel like with God of War last year, we're barely scratching the surface with like first-party Sony games and seeing what this little big boy is fully capable of.
Go ahead, Beckler. I want to hear what you're thinking.
I think I just don't think it's like, I don't think we're close to it though. I think you just got to market saturation where it's like, actually available, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So I just think there's just so much more runway for ahead of it for it to get that Pro. And I think also like you as Jan said, like we were at different points in the PS4's life cycle where we were like, oh, it'd be cool if like this thing, it was hitting the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Like what? Like it was.
Yeah, I mean, with the Pro came. So when did the system launched? It came out in 2013,
Jeez.
and we got the Pro in 2016 or 17.
16, 17. That sounds right.
So it's like 3-4 years later. So it would be like later this year would be the time when it would start to happen. It would be like when the Pro, if we were lining up one generation to the next. I think though what you're probably meaning, Backlar, though, is the games we're kind of reaching a plateau on the PS4, and we're not there yet. We barely have gotten to a point where PS5 only games are coming out. Period.
Totally. I don't think there's customer appetite for it, right? Like there's just not appetite.
Yeah,
Like
Marino says November 10th, 2016 for the PS4 Pro in North America. So yeah, 3 years.
Right,
Thanks,
like the appetite has to be there where people are not just they're still coming down from the hangover of like racking their brain to like find a console a year and a half after it originally launched. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of factors that go into like taking the temperature of appetite from the consumer base, and I just don't think we're there.
Yeah,
and I think it's like the reasons that we would want to go out and get a PS5 Pro or an Xbox Series X or Pro or Z or whatever they would call it are very different than the reasons these companies would want to make one, right? They wanted to make a PS4 Pro because 3 years in, the system was already beginning to feel old, and it was going to be weird to keep that system at the same high price that it always was. So what they did was like, yeah, we could drop the price of this. We will do a price cut, and then we'll replace it with something more powerful, and that could stay up there and keep that average sales price pretty high. They are not really at any threat of that being the problem here. They're going to be able to continue to sell these things at the high price they've been at all along, and for the next several years. I think like they're probably not going to cut the price on these systems anytime soon, and until that becomes like even like a question mark, I think there's little chance we get a Pro kind of come in there and swoop in and replace it. So I'm with you guys. If it happens, it's much further down along the line than when we got the last Pro.
It was like when the PS4 Pro came out, I felt like there were times playing PS4 games where I felt like I needed it. Like playing 2018 God of War, I was like, ugh, like this PS4 sounds like it's going to explode. I don't think I've gotten to that point with a PS5 because there just hasn't been enough games to play on it.
And that system like is good. It runs well. Like
it's already a Pro.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the truth, is that both these systems out of the gate already Pro models in a way that the base PS4 and the base Xbox One just were trash compared to what we got out of the gate this time around. So yes,
I already got my Pro. It's called a 4070, motherfucker.
And someone in the chat mentioned, Chaser mentioned they raised the price of the PS5 in every region except for the United States. And even in the United States, you have to get the $550 bundle with the game to even get it. And it has not slowed down sales at all. So in a world where they are able to raise the price and keep selling you the same thing, they are just going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And that same thing might get more affordable for them to make. They might keep making stealth revisions, but launching anything along the lines of a Pro that disrupts that apple cart or is more expensive to produce, I'm not a chance. Not anytime soon.
I would like a Slim, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, when you started talking, I was like, oh, cool. Like this thing's not going to be the most ergonomically hated thing in the history of consoles. Like, this box sucks.
It sounds like that. I mean, at least according to the rumors right now, and who knows, that doesn't sound like that's on the table for this year at least. Maybe that's something that does come next year. I think a Slim is probably the thing we get first, more than when it comes time to actually do a full revision.
Yeah,
we've got data though, right? Like, what's the proportion of digital to disc PS5s?
Oh, it's like, I mean, that's skewed by how many
available
digital Sony sells, right? I think it's something like 10 to 1, 9 to 1 is what it seems like it is. 90% are typical PS5s, 10% are digital, and I just think that's how many Sony produces. And so that's kind of the way it works out. Because every single one is selling, right? So that's
right.
It just comes down to what they're manufacturing.
Right.
All right. I do have a digital PS5. I don't think I would go out and get a disc drive though.
I was going to ask,
what do you think about that?
How much is that disc drive? Not that I need it, but
they would probably sell it for like $50, right?
50? I was thinking 120.
Holy shit!
I mean, because what they cost like $5 to make.
Yeah,
so,
that thing
okay,
is
so
nothing.
probably like 79. People are saying at least 100. You guys are all right. I just to me, it's like, how do you sell a disc drive for $100 goddamn dollars? But I guess that's the difference between.
You tell everyone that it's $100. I mean,
yeah,
it's
you just tell them it's $100. Yeah,
that's how you do it.
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, it's like the storage for Xbox. It's like that thing should be way cheaper than it is now. But like, nope, that's the only one that's available, and it's $220 to pay it. So, okay, that's probably right. Probably $100. I definitely would not get one for $100. I don't really need physical games anyhow. So that's just me.
Man, I found a slim PS2, like the little flippy dippy boys, in my backpack last week. And I held that sucker up. I'm like, wow, if only game consoles were still this small.
Yeah, I love all the slim PlayStations are all so good. That the PS1 where they wrote out the number one.
Oh yeah,
I love that. I love that. That slim PS2 was so cool looking. Yeah.
Ooh, the rounded corners on the PS1 Slim.
Yeah, I got that in the back of that room right there. There's one right there. I should go get it out. I think I still have the screen somewhere too, so I can have like the little mobile PS1. I love that thing. Mary says that PS1 screen is better than it has any right to be. It was like surprisingly good. I tried to get the similar thing for the GameCube, and that one was like so blurry, but I still played a lot of games on it in the back of my 1980 Malibu. All right, so Microsoft laid off 10,000 people last week. That hit many of the people in the video games side of things, primarily 343 Industries, which develops Halo. This comes as there's like other turmoil at 343 Industries. Joseph Staten, who was overseeing Halo, left to go back to Xbox Publishing. Rumors came out that also said 343 was going to stop directly working on Halo. 343 responded to that, and said, yeah, we are going to keep doing this. But it wasn't sort of like the rumors are untrue. They just say, yeah, we're still going to be here working on Halo stuff. So it's like, man, there's room left for that to still be true. It's a weird time over there. How are you guys feeling about the future of Halo, 343 Industries, and Microsoft Gaming overall?
It's just so wild. We talked about this when I was on Game This Morning last week, but it's just so wild to see how far Halo has fallen, because I just thought it would be one of those franchises, those marquee games that would be unfallible. But then, you look at the track record, and you even just look at Halo 4 and then Halo 5, and then now we're at Halo Infinite. It's like the big boom was there, but I wonder if the big boom was there just because the multiplayer was free, and then that was kind of like a wild feeling for everyone. But I just kind of don't care about it anymore.
Well, that's the truth. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, are not caring about it. I also don't know, like, you don't know what the longer term, I guess, strategy is, right? Like, it could be, being moved off 343, right, and given to someone else. I don't know.
I mean, the multiplayer is already basically that way.
Yeah.
343 does work with other developers on that, but most of that content, most of that stuff is designed by outside teams, like Certain Affinity being primary among them. So it's like, yeah, it could happen with the single player as well, just as easily. You could see that happen.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like for some reason, like the Halo name at this point also it's just like a wet fart, and I feel bad saying that. because like the Halo TV show came and it absolutely went. I had no idea when it started.
Good. Yeah.
I had no idea when it started. I had no idea when it finished. I had no idea what it was supposed to add.
Do you know where to watch it? Do you know what service it's on?
Was it Paramount? It's Paramount, right?
Yeah, it's Paramount.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Master Chief's Paramount Plus.
There we go.
With Yellowstone.
And iCarly.
Yeah.
Oh, do people like Yellowstone?
Yes. Old white people love Yellowstone. Yes. It is the dumbest show. I tried to watch it. I was like, oh man, this seems like a cool thing. Seems like a gritty show. No, it's so stupid. It's like things just happen on that show. It is just if you love plot, man, Yellowstone's got plot coming out its ass. It's like one episode, hey, there's a bear. Why? Because there's a bear. And the next episode's like, oh, my wife's a teacher. She's gonna go teach us. Oh, she got punched in the face by one of her students and almost died. She's in the hospital. Why? Because that would be awesome. And that's that show. I don't like Yellowstone, everybody.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
they made a prequel series to Yellowstone also, though.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they really do. It's the biggest show. Apparently, it's massively successful. So,
I mean,
very
look,
bad.
That's the most Paramount ass thing I've ever heard. I think, like, someone's trying to sell me on this show. Someone who I'm not very good friends with, and I was just sort of like, "You are doing a bad job at selling me on your Yellowstone."
It's a legit bad show. I mean, yeah. It's a very boomer show. Absolutely.
It's like horny cowboy stuff. Like it's people who are like horny for cowboys.
There's still be some of that stuff. I mean, there's like some sexy times for sure, but it's
no. I just mean like they like hats and like
yes, yeah. It's like
furs.
Oh man, this is like the salt of the earth people, but no, it's like a billionaire ranch owner. Like it's not even really that.
Okay.
It's like it's really like he's wearing a cowboy hat all the time and
got it.
I mean, it's Sopranos, but in the plain states, and very bad because it's nowhere near as good as Sopranos.
Okay. Wow.
Like, yes.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Power of the Dog 5 times in a row.
There you go. And you should, yeah.
Hey, shouts out to Bronco Henry, man.
I lost where we. Oh no, here we are. Halo stuff. As part of this, some ex-developers that we used to work at 343 were pretty upset about these layoffs and laid the blame at Microsoft management. Is kind of how they framed it and said this is decisions they made affected the teams. People that were working on these teams did what was asked of them, and that kept changing. And poor decisions were made and made it difficult to execute on that stuff. And it's like these people shouldn't be getting laid off. The management should take responsibility. Yeah, that sounds about right. But it's once again, it's like, man, okay, really. It's just more reasons to feel bad about what Halo is and feel bad for the people who worked on it. And it's so weird because you come back to that game and Halo Infinite, pretty decent game. The multiplayer, very, very good. The single player, I got there eventually. The single player campaign is good up until that last section where it's like kind of a straight corridor. But it's like, no, they had something there. It's just, man, they couldn't just take this good game and keep people happy with it by putting more content into it. And it's like, oh, that's all you did wrong. And yet that's enough to make a big game like that feel really sour. And so they got, I don't know. They will go back to Halo. They're not going to abandon Halo, but it just feels so far behind the 8 ball in terms of getting it back to where it needs to be.
Rudderless.
And yeah, I mean, they could try to do that same thing again, but it's like, well, we just did that. And what they should do is do that same thing again, just do it in a competent way where you have the ability to put out the amount of content that you need. But who knows if they have the stomach for that. I could see them being really put off by that concept again.
I just don't know how they fix it.
Well,
yeah. I mean,
what is Halo if not a bunch of corridors? Right.
That's right. Exactly. Yep.
Sure.
I mean, that certain affinity battle royale Halo could come out and could dominate the world and take everything over. Like you never know. But we'll see.
Is it bad that I've had more fun playing as Master Chief in Fortnite rather than
that's
actual Halo?
Actually,
that is actually fucked up.
I have not actually. I love that Halo multiplayer and Infinite. No. It's at least you're still having fun with Master Chief. It's got enough cultural cachet that you're playing as him in another video game. I guess good for him.
People are okay. People under 30 know who Master Chief is.
Oh man, now I'm part of this crew. No.
Oh, Jan, baby.
No.
That's it.
There it is.
Start looking for the gray hairs, bro.
They're already here.
Welcome to the demographic.
That's it. One of us. I love how you age, yet we don't. No, like, but I'm just saying, like Master Chief does not mean anything to a huge portion of people who play video games.
Oh, totally. 100%.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like,
and like you just put it, they know the only reason they know Mr. Chief is through Fortnite.
yeah.
It's like, oh, you mean green mech guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh boy.
That's it.
Oh,
Yep.
boy.
So they got a lot of work to be done over there, and it doesn't seem necessarily like they have a great direction going forward. 343, like I said, definitely came out and said, "Hey, we are still working on this stuff, but Joseph Staten just left. What does this really mean for this stuff going forward? Do they really believe in putting that much? I mean, that was part of the rumors. Is they would have other studios come in and work on Halo, but they would do it with slimmer budgets and stuff like that going forward. So it's like, we will see the next time they come out with a Halo game what it looks like, and if it's not treated like some big marquee thing, I think at that point we'll know for sure. Like they have sort of sidelined Halo in terms of being their biggest thing going forward. And if they have Starfield and Starfield really takes off and they're able to get Call of Duty, maybe that makes sense. But otherwise, it feels like they just screwed something up pretty majorly.
Okay, this is just pie in the sky, like fantasy booking here. But do you think part of the motivations for trying to acquire Activision Blizzard is because management just saw how poorly Halo was being forecasted in terms of performance and longevity, and they're like, rather than work on this game that's our bread and butter, let's go get that game. We want that one now.
It can't just be like the one-to-one reason.
Sure,
obviously it gets computed in the calculation for an acquisition like that. Like, yes, I like everyone. It's not a secret. Hey, Microsoft doesn't have a lot of first-party strength. It's just not that. So that's it's part of the calculus for sure.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Re-release Halo 3 and then I'll be back on board.
Hey, Master Chief Collection's still very good.
That's true. It took a while.
It took a very long time. That's what 343 should be like best known for, is fixing that thing. They didn't really mess up that much in the first place because that was another thing made by someone else. But they fixed it over a course of a decade and got it pretty good.
Man, I thought I was going to finish that fight. I didn't. It never finished.
Listen, we might just leave that fight unfinished and move on to the next one.
Really good trailers.
All right. Blizzard engineer has left the company after protesting a new employee appraisal system. Brian Birmingham, who has worked on World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and more over 17 years, is no longer at Blizzard. That's according to a report from Bloomberg. He apparently exited the company or potentially was let go because he was vocally against a system that required him to grade his team on a curve. What that means is essentially the appraisal system required him to have at least 5% of employees be rated as low scoring. This led to a situation where Birmingham was forced to change an employee's status from successful to developing, even though Birmingham had assessed this individual as successful. Here's a quote from Birmingham. "This sort of policy encourages competition between employees, sabotage of one another's work, a desire for people to find low-performing teams that they can be the best-performing worker on, and ultimately erodes trust and destroys creativity. If this policy can be reversed, perhaps my Blizzard can still be saved, and if so, I would love to continue working there. If this policy cannot be reversed, then the Blizzard Entertainment I want to work for doesn't exist anymore, and I'll have to find somewhere else to go." I'll say that people trying to appraise other people is always sort of harrowing. But yeah, any system that requires you to grade on a curve when it's like comes to people's like livelihoods, that's going to be like, I'm doing my part, I'm doing well. But because you need to have and we're all doing well as a team and this team's succeeding, we're all performing at such a high level, but because we're all performing at such a high level, I get punished. Oh, that seems pretty rotten to the core. So yeah, I don't blame Brian for this at all.
No. Yeah. I don't know. It's losing humanity day by day.
It is so insane.
Yes.
Like anyone at any level in any organization could think that this is a positive way to review your staff. What the fuck is wrong with you? I've seen that before. I have seen it before.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you get to see it all because like they try everything, and it's like you know what doesn't work, and this is like the worst kind of thing you can try to pull off.
I guess at some point you just like, if you make it far enough up the chain of a career path, you just like see yourself become like you have to be okay with seeing yourself become an absolute fucking demon.
I mean, they live. They live as a documentary. It's like they let you in the door, and now you have to like do their bidding, and yeah, it's demoralizing, of course. My wife was a teacher. She did so in Colorado. It has a very rough appraisal system for teachers, and it was always so frustrating because it's like the incentive structure there didn't make any sense because the people. Ideally, if Brian Birmingham's team, if he gives, if this team's doing very well, their team should be making the company more money. Like ideally, that's how it's supposed to work, right?
Sure.
There is no profits in teaching kids, so it's like the incentive is if you rank, if you say a teacher's doing well, it's not like, well, they made you more money. So tying their money to this appraisal system, the only benefit you get there is like, okay, maybe we should rank this person lower because we're paying them more because they have more seniority. So we should get rid of them. And because they're doing as fine as anyone else. The only reason we really need this system is to maybe be able to spotlight a way to get rid of someone that we don't like or is costing us too much money. That's the only incentive structure there, or at least from the outside, that's all I could see. And it's like, man, seeing that for so long, basically, I would just kind of got tired of any sort of human appraisal system. But I get that corporations love that stuff. So
it makes me feel dirty just hearing those two words put together, human or three words, human appraisal system of like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep,
all right.
Absolutely.
Also, just pay teachers more, damn it.
Yeah, fucking
of course.
So you are probably going to see that new Tango Gameworks game next week. We talked about this a few episodes ago. I don't know, maybe at the end of last year, after the Game Awards. Tango Gameworks, the makers of Evil Within. Most recently, they did Ghostwire Tokyo.
I mean, I'll talk about that.
The makers of Evil Within.
Yeah.
They have a smaller game in the works that they were trying to get out relatively quickly. It's been rumored to be called Hi-Fi Rush. It's one that I heard would show up early in the year at this developer direct that's coming up tomorrow, right? So that's gonna be happening tomorrow.
Yep.
Turns out it probably will be there according to more reports.
Hey.
So yeah, so we'll be looking out for that. They've already confirmed like 4 games for that thing. Sounds like they'll have a few more surprises. So look out for that. What do you guys want from a Tango Gameworks?
I want to go back to like the horror. I will be selfish. I want that. I want, I'm one of the weirdos that liked Evil Within 1 better than 2.
Oh,
right.
And I think they were really like they were scratching an itch for me that had not been scratched in a while. And I think there's a certain visual vocabulary that developers able to sort of, exude out the pores that I would like to see something in that regard. Like I know this is unrelated. I've been thinking a lot about Shadows of the Damned lately.
Yeah,
as one does. And I'm starting to worry that I'm getting a similar Eternal Darkness like a legacy feeling for that game, but I know that can't be true. I can't be that off kilter. But no, I think there's a certain strangeness that is kind of lacking from a polished experience like that I would love to see Tango go into in that direction. But yeah, that selfishly sticking back to the horror thing, I think Ghostwire Tokyo had the style, but that's it. And hopefully this can have a more balanced delivery here, whatever this thing is. Whenever I hear about a new game from these people, I'm listening. So
yeah, this is Mikami Studio. Mikami, who did Resident Evil 4, right? I might be mixing up that lineage, but I'm like, yeah, I would like to see them keep doing their horror stuff. But it's like, man, they could also they probably have a lot of people who've worked on a lot of different games. If this is going to be like their smaller side project that is supposed to be something different, that'd be nice. And then get back to making the big horror games that Tango Gameworks is known for at this point. So
hey, maybe it's a Silent Hill game as well. I mean, we saw those reports that Konami's like, yo, you want to make a Silent Hill? Here you go, buddy. Here's the keys.
Yeah, I think that's likely, right? Everybody gets to make a Silent Hill game. Just send it out to everybody.
They're open for franchise. It's like a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, exactly. Microsoft's Activision acquisition could actually lead to some interesting reveals in court from Sony. Microsoft has subpoenaed Sony as part of its defense against the FTC, which is trying to block the acquisition. Sony was instrumental in sort of bringing up a lot of problems that it had with that potential acquisition. And so to help fight against this, Microsoft saying we need to know what you have coming out so we could show that, or so we can know for sure whether or not you really can compete or not. And so the idea is that Sony may have to submit everything that it's working on to the court. Now, this stuff will likely be redacted, but this is one of the risks that Sony ran and fully understood that it might end up in this situation. Although I guess we'll see if the court says, oh yeah, you can subpoena Sony and Sony does have to bring it or not. But yeah, is this how you guys want to get all the news about what Sony's working on?
Sure. Yeah.
A little bit of collateral damage here.
Yeah,
it's one way to get them, huh?
Well, just a tiny bit of mutually assured destruction, right? Just a tiny bit.
Ooh, if it is redacted stuff, then we can kind of like start guesstimating about like, okay, that looks like it is NAC 3. That is
NAC 4.
Yes.
Oh, exactly. I think they forgot to redact the top serif of something. Let's look at it. Fire up your best unredactor apps. Yeah, and so we will have a go at it.
ChatGPT, what word is this likely to be? And it'll just make something up. But okay,
literally, it just says like God of War, you know.
Yeah.
Killzone 6. What?
Mark Cerny's ear simulator. All right.
They're making another 1889. The order was it 1888 or was it 1888?
1886. Close. You were very close. You were right there. Hey, listen, I gave that game a 7 out of 10 and regret it. I wish I would have gave it an 8 out of 10.
Dude, that game looks really good. I'll give you that.
It's like
should I play that?
Yes.
Dude, look, I think I'm more on the side with you, Grubb. I think that game is a 7.5 out of 10.
Yes, fair enough. Okay, yes, that's probably where it is.
That game looks all right. It wasn't the most like compelling, but it kind of made you feel like you were like in the Prestige for a little bit. Well, yeah, so that was fun.
You play as the Knights of King Arthur's Court, but like in the 1800s.
Yeah,
but,
so you're all like Tesla boys.
Yes, exactly. Like someone's like named as Arthur, but like that's like a title you take on. Like when you become the lead of the team, you become Arthur, and you have what's the other names of King Arthur's knights? Sir Lancelot.
Larry.
Yeah. There's a Lancelot. There's a Larry.
Galahad.
Yeah. The Order 1886 is one that we could probably play in like a couple of sessions. Like if we wanted to have like a stream week, we could play the Order 1886, and I think you should play that. That would rule.
I think the campaign's like 4 hours. You know, it's something real. No, it might be a little longer than that, but there's a whole like blimp scene I remember too, which was
hold on.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I would go back there. I would go back to that world.
We could play.
They should make another one.
Hey! So it came out February 20th, 2015. We could play it for the 8-year anniversary.
Yes, let's do it.
Celebrate it. Celebrate 1886. There we go.
Hey, everybody, we're getting together to celebrate 8 years of the Order 1886. Hell yeah, I love it. I reviewed that game. I've been reviewing games for a while. Huh? Okay. Okay. So some people found a Nintendo patent for an AR system that showed a dog inside of it. Showed a dog like in the AR thing. And so people are like, well, obviously this means Nintendo is making an AR Nintendogs game for your phone, right? Not necessarily. And almost certainly not. Like that was just the patent, but that is something they patented a while ago. They've used that technology though in stuff like Animal Crossing for a phone, like Pocket Camp for the phones. So they have already used it, and it had nothing to do with Nintendogs. This happens all the time though, right? The companies patent something, they have an illustration that shows what it looks like, and then people extrapolate from that illustration, and it almost never pans out to be what actually ends up happening, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like patents will be filed all the time, and then it winds up actually never going anywhere or making any forward progress.
Totally. Some of it's preventative, some of it's whatever it is. Like you don't know the reason,
right? And they like completely different divisions. Like there's a product division making stuff, and another one researching stuff, and they don't even talk a lot of times. So, yeah, like they have just completely different jobs.
Can you imagine a Nintendo phone?
Oh, good.
I'm sorry.
No, people like for a long time. People like Nintendo might make a phone. I never believed that because it's like I could not imagine in my head what it could look like. Maybe that's gave them the opportunity to come up with something really wild. But I just don't. What would it be?
I wouldn't trust them. It wouldn't make phone calls or texts.
Yeah. It wouldn't allow you to. You'd be like, no, we don't know how to put people in touch. That's
right. You can make one call a day. Have you guys ever seen the Cinco phone thing from Tim and Eric, where there's one button, and to dial it, you got to go like, it's like, okay, the number is 909, so it's got to dial it 9 times, and then for 0, you don't press anything. It's like, well, how does that work? And it can only make calls, it can't receive calls. And
that's so.
And Bagley Jr.'s like, wait, you call me back? Oh, wait, you can't. And it's that's a good bit.
That being said, I think I'd buy a Nintendo Street Pass device. Like,
oh yeah,
like, okay, cool. I'm just going on my commute to work, which is just to my kitchen. Oh, who do I Street Pass today?
Mm-hmm.
I just think like all these decades, there's things Nintendo does really well and stuff that I am not convinced it will do well. One of those things is like TV. I don't think they'll ever do that well. And I think there are other reasons to believe and to draw the conclusion that maybe perhaps a mobile device specifically used for communication, like a phone, would not be a thing that they've proven themselves to be maybe competent in pursuing. Right?
I think that's probably right.
What if it's made out of cardboard?
Okay, I would love that actually. I want a cardboard phone. Man, do they send you like a little OLED screen that you just like tie to? Like
solder it.
You like sew it into the cardboard or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My Nintendo phone caught on fire.
Dude, it becomes a wearable. You strap it into your Ring Fit and then just like plonk it around your neck, and then it's like a little stand for it.
I love it.
Sure. I accidentally recycled my Nintendo phone.
Nintendo, like, still, I mean, at least at the beginning of the pandemic, was still like regularly using fax machines for internal communication. So it's like, man, that company just had no idea. They did not care. There was no interest in updating that stuff to like learn how to use the cloud or phones. So no, they couldn't handle anything like that.
They ran out of toner in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. All right, let's see here. SteamWorld Build is yet another new take on that universe, and I'm excited. I love those SteamWorld games. After SteamWorld Dig, Heist, and Quest, developer Thunderful is now taking on the city building genre. The build has players designing an urban environment while also mining for resources underground. So there's like these two layers to what's happening. You can design your Sim City or whatever up top, and then you can go down a layer, and then you can control your guys as they mine the resources so you can expand your city. And there's one thing that like SteamWorld Dig 2 is very, very good at. It's that loop. And I'm like, if you could bring that loop to city building games, I might be very into this. There's a demo out now.
Oh.
Jan, there are tiles.
Oh, snap. They heard me. They heard me preemptively awarding Tile of the Year, and they were like, no, we came out with some tiles, dog. Check this shit out.
It's exactly right. They will not let that stand. I love SteamWorld games. SteamWorld Dig 2 is fantastic. Heist is a really good 2D tactics game. Quest is that card game that was actually surprisingly good.
Yeah.
So they have been like going back to this universe over and over, and every time it's really worked out for them. So I'm excited. If they think that this is something they want to do, they must have some good ideas for it. So I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, I love SteamWorld. Don't like builders, but I'll check this bad boy out.
I'm definitely gonna be checking it out. One of my favorite gaming experiences ever is my friend let me borrow SimCity for Super Nintendo.
Oh,
and
sick.
I could not stop playing that when I was a kid. It was like, man, it turns out that's a very good port of that game.
It is.
Marvel's Avengers is shutting down. Development is ending. It's basically all wrapped up for that game. It's getting a few more patches, but it's not going to be getting any more updates of content or anything like that. One of those updates on March 31st will make all of the extra content that you could buy in the game, all of the microtransactions and the skins, free for everybody. So if you own a copy of that game, now you can play everything in there and not have to pay extra. Okay. They will let you continue to play this game online for the foreseeable future. They will stop selling it, though, digitally on September 30th. Any interest in going back to this, Bacalar?
No. I played what I needed to play out of that and understood what it was offering, and decided it wasn't for me. But I'm surprised they're going to delist it. I just don't... I don't know. Or
I think because it's like, if you leave it up, and you keep selling it to like new copies, that's like new support claims you have to deal with, and they probably just don't want to deal with that, right?
I guess, but I mean,
Is that not something you could just patch into? Like, hey, none of this stuff is online anymore, dog.
Yeah.
Well, the stuff is going to be online though. That's the weird part. So they're going to stop selling it, but you could keep playing it online if you own it.
Right,
so that's not going to be for forever, probably. But
there's
for
cost
now,
there, right? There's costs associated to that. So I don't know. Like,
it could be licensing stuff. Says SevWord. That makes sense. Maybe they needed to re-up the license. That's. I mean,
and
that
they're
seems
just like, you know,
pretty short though. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't get it. I don't understand why you do this. I mean, like, I also don't understand you should give it away for free at this point. You know.
Yeah, maybe giving it away for free could save it or help it out. I don't know.
I think it's because I mean this is from a studio that is no longer owned by the publisher. All that stuff's been split up. There's like no putting this toothpaste back in the tube. It's all kind of over for this game. But hey, I mean, this was maybe the big primary example of having a big property, seeing other games succeed as a live service game, and trying to then replicate that with that big property, and then it not working, and it's sort of just being a big clusterfuck. I'm wondering, do you guys think Avengers scared off other publishers from trying to replicate this over and over again? Obviously, we still get a lot of live service games, but I don't think we get like maybe we are. Maybe that's what that Star Wars from Ubisoft is going to be like. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I don't think it completely has. I feel like people are still taking their shot of like, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it better. Look at Suicide Squad. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Yeah. I think it gets chalked up as like a learning experience for the rest of the industry, right? And
but it's like, but what are they learning? Because if they're gonna keep trying it, it's like, do they think, oh well, that game just didn't have enough content or what? Because it's like Marvel's Avengers. People seem to generally like the single player stuff, and then you get to the end game, and it was like that's where it kind of fell apart.
Yeah,
like, man, you just make it a single player game, but obviously that business model, you can make a lot more money if your game's a successful Destiny like than if it's just a successful single player product. But yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like it's sort of incompatible because with those live service game, you can try a bunch of different things. You can make a lot of them for relatively cheap. If one of them takes off, great. If all of them fail, well, they didn't cost that much. They were these smaller live service projects. Adding Avengers on top of that made it so expensive it couldn't fail, and here we are, it did. So, yeah, it's tough. All right. The Last of Us Part 1 sales jumped following the TV show. In the UK, the physical sales for Last of Us Part 1 for PS5 jumped to 238%. Wow. It worked. It worked, right? Yep.
Those are real percentages. Wow.
Oh. Well, they're real percentages, but like, let me also tell you that like 15 is that much more percentage of 7, you know? So like, I guess, right. It's like,
what as the context of what you're saying there, it's number 20 on the chart. So it's
right.
not
and
like
that's what I was going to follow up with. Like, well, it's registering on a chart, so it's probably significant.
Yeah, this is still exactly what they want to see, and if this happens month after month, not necessarily that growth, but if it like stays in the top 20 month after month while this show is on, and while people can watch the show even once the season's over, then that's a huge success. Everything's working the way that they wanted it to, and this will be like the system like that they are going to try to replicate with all of their shows and games going forward. So, The Last of Us Remastered for PS4 jumped 322% to number 32. So it is working at the very least.
Well, when you say it's working, I mean,
it's dependent on the series.
Well, it's working for this game and this franchise. Sure. Yeah.
I again, of course, like this is a byproduct of like a thing you want, right? I think, I also think it's weird because I wonder, is this a situation where people are, I just wonder like what the workflow is, right? Where it's like, oh, I think there's people who want to play it and like compare it, right? There's people who want to like do a sort of follow along kind of thing. It does help that it is being very well received as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's a key part of this. Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't have to be the most well received, even though it seems like The Last of Us is kind of up at that level. The Witcher was mostly well received. There was a lot of criticism, and that had that same effect. So it seems like as long as you are generating positive vibes with the show, it seems like that's going to get people excited, and then they will want to go spend more money. And if you have a video game, they'll be right there. And if you have a video game that you just remade for $70, that's everything working the way that they want. And here you go. It's like, yeah, I mean,
line and sinker, right?
Yeah, it's set them up and knock them down. Like that's exactly what they did here. So I would expect them to replicate this going forward for sure.
I just don't see the same magic being or working again with something like Twisted Metal.
Yeah, so Twisted Metal is probably going to be another test case where it's like, okay, that may, I mean, but who knows? Maybe that's a very good show, and suddenly that's the hope, right? That's the lottery ticket that they're buying. So, and maybe it's the kind of thing where, especially if you're a game developer, well, we can get away with pitching a Twisted Metal now because we can pair it with a TV show, and we'll see if it works. But at least we get a game out of it, right? And most shows would die to have a video game that they could sell for $70 to a bunch of hungry fans that are online, like that HBO show that was really big a few years ago before it got canceled about the robots in the West. Well, I want to say Wild Wild West.
Westworld,
right?
Westworld.
Thank you very much. Like that show was huge and had so much online fervor. If they could have sold you a video game for $70 right when it was like at that point, they would have been desperate for that. And it's clearly they wish they had that.
It was great for robot sales for sure.
Oh yeah, I got 5 in that back closet as well, right next to my PS1.
So is Twisted Metal the next one?
It's one of the next ones.
Because God of War too, right?
God of War is like
Horizon.
Yes,
like an Amazon thing. Right?
Yes, Horizon is coming too, and then that Gran Turismo movie is another one.
I don't see people flocking after, even if the Gran Turismo movie is good. I just don't see people flying of like, I gotta go get that driving game, because whatever tone the movie is, it's not going to be indicative at all of course, of the actual game.
It doesn't have the narrative pull. Like there's not that same connection for sure.
I think that's right, but I think this is a multifaceted strategy where, like, in the ideal circumstances, it's this, where you put out a big show. It's critically acclaimed on its own merits, and then you can go buy a game that people like and is critically acclaimed, and everything's working in conjunction with one another. But also, movie studios are desperate to have any IP that has any recognizable elements that they can play on, so they can create content for movie theaters. And if that's all the video game is providing as well, that's still a baseline for something. And then any shine that like cars get, because like someone goes watch this movie, I like cars, a few thousand extra people go buy a game. That's still something, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't have to be the reason to greenlight it, but it's still something. Okay, WWE 2K23 is launching in March. It's going to have John Cena on the cover. John Cena is going to be the showcase mode, and they're going to have the War Games match type, which when they put 2 rings together and there's a steel cage over it.
War Games. Sorry.
Have they done that? They've done that in real life?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think it was when WCW did it. It was like World War III, I think is what they would call it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I like John Cena.
Yeah, I'll buy a video game with John Cena on the cover. I guess we'll see if where this game's at in terms of what WWE is like at that point, because it seems like it's kind of getting worse and worse over there. But I was feeling pretty good about WWE a few months ago. A lot of that's changed. But hey, yeah, John Cena's cool, and I like John Cena. Final story here. This was actually, 2 more. There's another one after this. More Metroid, according to a leaker. This one is almost like it feels like you don't even need to leak it, because the Spanish leaker says Mercury Steam is maybe working on another 2D Metroid that will be out by 2025. And it feels like almost kind of obvious that Metroid Dread did really well. You could have Mercury Steam just like they made Metroid Dread. They could just make a sequel to that, and that game will do very well as well. So yeah, give me that. I love 2D Metroid, but that's a rumor out there now. This is from a leaker that spotted Metroid, or that new Metroid Dread was coming out before it was announced, and so it's like, okay, there's a track record there. I am ready to believe. You guys Metroid Dread fans?
Oh, I loved it.
Sure. Yeah.
Did it in one go, or not one go, but like play through it once. Didn't need to go back to it, but I'd like new stuff.
Yeah. So give me some more of that. Yes, I love Makes Metroid Dread. And then finally, more media layoffs. Washington Post, it sounds like it's closing its launcher video game vertical. Sounds like they are going to basically be getting rid of everyone. A lot of people that worked over there on the video game side have announced that they've been laid off. This is just, it's contagious. Everyone starts doing it, and then everyone else is like, well, why aren't we doing it? And it's more people losing their jobs, and love goes out to Gene and the whole team over there. So good luck to all of them, and give them support like you guys have been with everyone else, and let them know they did really good work over there. They were like
Amazing
really like bringing video game coverage to a mainstream audience in maybe the most effective and laudable way that I've ever seen. And it's like, man, it's, we keep talking about how, The Last of Us is like the biggest show on HBO in years, or one of the biggest shows on HBO in years. Like, there's an audience ready to like maybe take gaming to that next level. And felt like the launcher could have been telling that story, but nope, not anymore. So shout out to everyone there, and good luck. And I hope everyone lands on their feet, and yeah, just much love. Okay, that does it for the news, Jan. So I'm going to hand this show back over to you, bud.
I'm going to take the show and realize that it needs to cool off for a bit. And we are going to take a quick break before we return for some email. And welcome back, everybody, to the Giant Bombcast. Let's read some emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address. You can send your emails there. You can send your questions, concerns, comments, kisses, various pictures, whatever have you. You can send it there. I'll look at it, and I'll hem and I'll haw about whether or not to include it in the show. And these are the ones that I decided to include onto the show this week. First email comes all the way from Norway.
Whoa.
Hello, non-terrorist bombers. Thank you for making that designation.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also going to look bad on you now on your email. But anyway, if the Giant Bomb crew were to voice the upcoming Mario movie, who would play which character? Moist kisses from Norway. Winky smiley face.
All right, let's hear your Mario, Bacalar.
You have to be Mario.
And you spend every moment of the movie just be like, no, it's pronounced Mario.
Hey, it's me, Mario.
Yeah, I like it.
There we go. All right, cool. Dan has to be Toad.
I'll be Peach.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, hello, I'm Peach.
Haha.
I'll just be the various sound effects. We'll just do it a cappella.
I still maintain that Chris Pratt has the least amount of lines in that movie.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think he will talk surprisingly infrequently. Yes, I think you're right.
I think if we're all fucking paying attention to the same thing here, in every single game that motherfucker's getting told what to do. He's just an innocent bystander. He's along for the ride. He's just like, oh, he's just looking around.
Wahoo! Yeah.
Wahoo! Right? Like, that's it.
Perfect.
It's like having Charles Martinet here back on.
Yeah,
wow.
I pray.
What character would Matthew Rory play? All of the Goombas.
Yeah.
Yes. All of the Goombas.
Yoshi's dog Poochie. There you go. He can be Poochie.
Yes. Yoshi's dog. Tam and Lucy are all of the Koopa kids at the same time. They have that weird double voice thing going.
Yes, yeah, yes, totally. I love that.
Wait, did we say for you, Grubb?
Oh, he speech.
Yeah.
No, you're Bowser, dude.
All right, I'll be Bowser.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I can
my
see
voice
it.
back. Yeah, totally.
All right. Next email comes from Travis. Hey, Bomb Crew. In 2018, I was on a military deployment to, you guessed it, Africa. A few months into my rotation, we got a new crew of heavy construction equipment operators that decided to start themselves a wager. They were going to each put down $50, and they had to listen to Toto's Africa every waking moment of every day on repeat for their 7-month deployment. They listened to it in their cars, their heavy machinery, they listened to it in Chow Hall, and when they were just hanging out at the end of the day. The bet was that if you asked to change the song, turn the volume down, or complained about Toto's Africa in any way, you were out of the competition and not eligible to win the pot. But you were released from the Toto's Africa misery. There were about 30 to 40 guys that went in on this bet, so the stakes were pretty high to $1.5 to $2,000. In the end, I think there were a handful of guys that made a couple $100 to take home from the deployment. Not sure if this was entirely worth their sanity to try and stick it out in the first place. My question to you is, which song do you think you could listen to on repeat, if any, for 7 months to win a bet like this? Keep up the good work. Faithful listener for 4 years now, Travis. Thank you, Travis.
The Cruisin' Blast original theme song from the video game Cruisin' Blast.
You animal.
Yeah,
you absolute animal.
Let's go.
It's got to be God, I can't even. How do I move on from that? It's got to be a song with many different parts, right?
So
it's got to be
that one Paul McCartney song that's like 3 different songs in one.
Yeah, like it's got to be like a Paradise by the Dashboard Lights kind of thing, or like a Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, where it's just like there's just a lot of different parts where the artist combined probably 3 songs into one.
Oh, like a Jesus of Suburbia.
Okay, sure. Which is like 11 songs. Like, absolutely. Someone in chat said Roundabout, which is a great JoJo call out for sure.
Yeah, A Day in the Life is the one that's like 3 different songs. It's and it, like I'm always like, man, what is that one song? And it's like it starts like this isn't it, and by the end, I'm like, oh my god, it changed. Okay, yeah.
What's the one Journey song that goes love will find you. Separate Ways.
Yeah.
I could listen to that shit for 7 months and then just start crying and then get hyped and upset.
That's not fair. That's a Filipino superpower.
That's
Be
true.
able to listen to Journey nonstop.
I don't know, dude.
He's one of us, He's one of us.
I don't think you could do it. I don't think Separate Ways is dynamic enough, dude.
I don't know. I just like the part in it. I'm like, oh, it gets me juiced all the time. But
is that your favorite Journey song?
I think so. I used to be Don't Stop Believin', but then the TV show Glee killed that.
Yes, it was Glee and not was it Glee? I thought maybe for your generation it's Glee, for mine it's Sopranos.
Okay, yeah. For me it's Glee.
Another thing that show whacked,
Jesus.
Fucking Christ.
What's that classic song that like classical song where it's like a bunch of or it's the same tune layered on top of one another over and over? I feel like listening to that would like either drive me insane immediately, or I would just become so in tune with it.
Are you Yo-Yo Ma from like Glass Onion right now? Are you trying to explain like a fugue or whatever it's called?
Yeah, is that what? Yeah, fugue. Yeah, so give me a fugue. I'll go with that.
Oh, that's right. There was that little bit part in that overall underwhelming movie. What was the one? Oh, Lights. That's my favorite Journey song, which is about San Francisco, as far as I could tell.
Oh, and the lights go down in the city.
I mean, the city by the bay, right? Like that's SF, right? Like
it has to be. I mean, he's talking about his Filipino brethren even before the original singer got replaced by Arnel Pineda.
Right.
He just was able to foresee the journey. It's like I'm just gonna go one day. Yeah. All right. Still on the Africa tip. Okay.
Oh.
Horn is what it's called.
The Africa Horn.
Horn of Africa.
This comes from Ryan from Chicago. Dear Bombcast, long time, first time. In my late teens, I worked at a local cafe with one of my closest friends. If we got paired up on the same shift, we often looped the Cantina band over the cafe speakers for entire days straight. To confirm the group's suspicions, there was absolutely some 17-year-old shithead cracking up with his buddy in the back room as they watched Bakalar's distress over those drums echoing in the night. Love, Ryan from Chicago.
Oh, yes. Yes, I could guarantee. Like, and God, the fact that you went up to the person and like asked about it, God, that's like because he like so giddy, got to go back. It's like this guy's out here complaining. This guy, he's freaking out, man. Oh, you made their day back.
I sized up who I wanted to ask too. I was like, seriously, I was
what's going on.
I was deep in the recon. I was deep in the espionage where I was like, because there were so many people who worked there. So I was just like, are they all in on it? So I went up to my mark, and you know, he was just like, "Yeah, it's weird, dude. I'm sorry." I was being cool about it, or at least I thought it was. I guess not.
All right. Final email this week about Africa, the Toto song. Hey, Bomb Crew. I once had an experience similar to Bacalar, hearing Toto's Africa many times within a short period of time. One night while at home, this is a long boy, by the way, folks, I was playing video games in my room. Across the hallway, my dad was on the family computer, at which point I hear what sounds like a live performance of Africa by Toto. Paying a little mind to it, my focus shifts back to the game I was playing. A few minutes later, I notice that I can still hear Africa playing from the other room. I think to myself, this song is a lot longer than I realized, before shifting my focus back to my video game once again. A few minutes later, I can still hear the damn song from the other room. And don't get me wrong, I quite enjoy that song, but I was absolutely befuddled as to why the song is still playing. So I decided to keep my attention on the music coming from the next room. Eventually, the song ends, I hear a pause, and then the faint clicking of a mouse button. Eventually, after what sounds like rain and thunder coming from the next room, Africa by Toto starts playing again. This is when I realized that my dad had been listening to this live version of the song on repeat for the last half hour or so.
Holy shit.
A couple of days later, I left my room to grab some food from downstairs, at which point I hear Africa coming from the family room. My curiosity took hold. I stealthily poked my head in just to see my dad showing my mom a video of an a cappella group doing a rendition of the song. Without alerting my parents to my presence, I silently watched the rest of the video with them. Once the video concluded, my dad exclaims, "Wasn't that cool?" To which my mom politely agreed. Now, whenever we have family or friends over, my dad will gleefully show that video to the company we are hosting. I've probably seen it half a dozen times at this point. But now it seems like the song follows me everywhere. I'm constantly hearing it at bars, restaurants, and other random public places than I ever have before. It just follows me everywhere I go. So hearing Bacalar's story shook me to the core, as if it's grim future that I will eventually face, and it frightens me knowing that no one is safe from that song. If you would like to watch the video that so raptured my father, below is a link to Toto's Africa, performed by the Angel City Chorus. Thank you for all you do.
See,
Alex, Chicago, Illinois.
See, what we in this whole time, what we've been overlooking is just how universally like good that song truly. Like, it's the most inoffensive. It's got a great hook.
Yeah.
Like I haven't heard it since the event.
That was gonna be my question. Is it following you around? Is it that thing where like the ghost follows you around until you have sex with someone else, like that sort of thing?
Oh my god, I need to hear more about why that's a thing. But
it's a movie. I can't remember the Babadook. No, not the Babadook. But go on.
I don't know. So yeah, I haven't heard it since.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
51st States. Yeah,
that is exactly. Rob Schneider's the ghost. It's so weird. There's just something about that song. Like, that's the song that like the aliens at the end of AI like have in their spaceship. You know, like that's the song they're playing. Like, there's something everlasting about that song where it just is perfectly fine. And like, have you ever heard anyone in your group of friends or like anyone that song comes on and someone's just like, well, I really hate this song. Like, no one...
whenever I play the Mario Paint version, the cover of it, Mike Minotti gets very mad at me. Yes.
I think that's a little different.
It might be the Mario Paint element.
Yeah, it's probably that. But there's something about it that I think is the perfect earworm for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it goes with everything. It's like chicken. It goes with everything.
It's a turkey sandwich.
It's it.
Now, maybe what is happening here though is it is like It Follows, which was the movie I was trying to think of, and because you saw through it, it didn't follow you home, but every other person in the restaurant got infected that night, and
probably
now it's been following them around ever since. This person's dad was there. That's what happened.
That's the problem. Everyone else should have been like hip to what was going down. I was the only one, therefore I had the antidote the whole time. Yep,
exactly.
Yep.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It's in my head right now. I'm listening to it.
Honestly, it's been playing in mine for like a decade. Yeah.
There's a John Mayer song, and I recently got into John Mayer. Why? I don't know.
Man, you could say anything, Jan. Anyone else says that, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Jan says it. All right, yeah,
Sure.
I'm pretty sure he samples Africa, and then it's just like, yeah, I just started vibing. I just started like wiggling the hips a bit, and then like I need the full thing, and I play Africa, and then I'm like, I need to like move the hips a little bit faster and add some arm movement. So then I'll play Ocean to Ocean by Pitbull, which is arguably the advanced version of Africa by Toto.
Sure, yes.
It is the best part of it is the best part of Aquaman is Ocean to Ocean, because then an octopus is playing the drums, guys. It's like a Little Mermaid, but in real life. It's fantastic.
That's cool. That's
Fantastic, yeah.
Okay, one more email. One more as I quickly scan through. Okay, here we go. This is about hockey.
Oh, dang.
So, this comes from Jeff. Dear Bombcast crew, in 2021, I decided to take up watching hockey after Backlar kept going on about hockey. I figured new sports,
new influencer.
Yeah, a puckfluencer, yes. Dr. Hockey. I figured new sport, new team. Fast forward to the other night when in Seattle, I made it a point to see my team. The whole time, water poured on my seat from the deck above. When asking an usher if we could move, he stated it does this all the time, and no. Do I just go back to golf? What's your worst live sport experience? Thanks. Love the show. Go Kraken, Jeff.
Oh my God. That is, first of all, on behalf of puckfluencers everywhere, this is not the experience that we are talking about. This is not.
The one thing hockey is supposed to do, if anything, is make sure that if you go there in person, you have a great time.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, someone's coming to watch hockey. Like we should be grateful. Like you're gonna come watch me. Oh, that's so nice. Listen, we're gonna roll out the red carpet. You're gonna have a great time. The idea that there's water just pouring on you from above is insane. Like that sounds real bad.
Yeah.
First of all, do not accept that. Like you need to write the Kraken. You'll not write them, but like get their attention. Tweet, like explain. There's no way on earth a brand new hockey team with a brand new arena is gonna like let that slide. You absolutely have to get that in front of somebody because that's insane. Like that's unacceptable. Also, that only happens at maybe 20 out of the 32 arenas around there. That is not indicative of like the hockey experience.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know, so
only,
I don't want
only
that
about
to
99% of the minor league stadiums. So yeah,
totally. It's that's crazy. I'm trying to think of the worst experience I ever had aside from just like.
Was I behind a pillar, or did I just see a TV show about someone being behind a pillar at a sports game, and I'm mixing up that with my childhood?
Oh, that's funny. I'm sure someone did a goof about an obstructed vision.
Definitely being on TV. I'm just like, did it also happen to me? I don't know. I can't remember.
I feel like that also happened to me now.
I don't know. Right? See?
Shoot.
I've been to a couple. So aside from like football and baseball games that I've been to, just, you know, they are what they are. I was at a hockey game once where a fight broke out.
Nice. In
like the 90s, late 90s. And I just got like beer and food thrown all over me because of it. It's just so stupid. If you fight at a sports event, you are the worst person in the world. Unless someone has wronged you and crossed the line in a way that like there's
like they rooted for the Pittsburgh Penguins, like
or like wore a Rangers jersey to a Devils Penguins game, like something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you are so brain broken that you let yourself get to the intoxication level of drug because you ain't sober. You are not sober. There's no sober people don't fist fight
at a sports arena sober. Yeah,
it's literally never happened. You suck. Everyone hates you. You ruin the night for all the people in your general vicinity. You're stupid. And you should ban yourself from ever coming back, or the fucking arena will do that for you, because I've seen it. I've seen it happen numerous times where they're like, "Sir, you are banned from coming back here." Mm-hmm. And I know someone who's been banned from MetLife Stadium where the Giants and the Jets play. Oh. And let me tell you something: they really ban you. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and they know, and he cannot go back there. So
we were driving to Joe Louis Arena for the first time to go see a Red Wings game as a kid when I still lived in Michigan, and my brother puked and we had to go home. So that was actually my worst night. So we didn't get to go to Joe Louis Arena, and that sucked.
I've gone to like wrestling shows where people around me just really smell bad. Hey, if you're going to a public place where you're gonna sit down for a while, wash up, please. Yeah, I think that's my worst sporting experience. I think my partner and I caused the worst sporting experience for someone fairly recently because we were too spirited for our team. And then we were just high-fiving and jumping up and down and saying, fuck the Kings. Shouts out to the, I guess the Beam man. Yeah, they wound up leaving after the first quarter because we were too spirited.
I definitely got that at Ohio State Michigan game when I was the only Michigan fan at the Horseshoe and surrounded by Ohio State fans. And an old lady was like, "You got to stop swearing so much."
Hey, what can I say? Do you guys have like a go-to fan base that you like automatically despise? Like without any kind of like context, you're just like, "What's that? You like who?" Well, I just don't like you.
Oh yeah, the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Green Bay Packers. Just trash.
Yeah.
Just like what? Oh,
I'm an owner of this team. Yeah, sure you are. Okay. Yeah, you bought a piece of paper. Okay, good for you.
Oh wow, I love that. I love hearing like the real hate that comes out.
Listen, the Green Bay Packers fans, yes, really though, it's Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. My entire goddamn life with these two motherfuckers.
That's a lot.
My entire life. Man,
I guess I'm just a basic bitch when it comes to that. It's exactly who you think. Grubb, I want Grubb to guess. It's two fan bases.
So you're the Devils. I mean, it probably is the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
And then is it Pittsburgh?
No, I like Pittsburgh.
Okay.
It's the Flyers.
Flyers, right?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Well, everyone hates the Flyers fans.
I hate the Flyers.
They're the most hateable. Look, like, and a close third there is probably Bruins now.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, Marchand and stuff. Yeah.
People who just like, that's what I hate. I like to think if I have a shitty person on my team who like is actively shitty and does shitty things, it's happened before. Devils have had bruisers, people who play the game at a level where you're just like, oh, you know what? It's good for the Devils that you do this, but also like you're a bad person. So I'm not in love with the fact that you do this on my team. But then you've got people who defend the scumbag behavior of people like Brad Marchand. And you're just like, how in the fuck do you sleep at night? When that guy just like gives cheap shots.
That's how it works.
Right? Crazy.
Right. That's why you guys defend me on Giant Bomb and the way I behave.
Exactly.
I'm your bad guy.
Love it.
Yes. You are the bad guy. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, someone said Scott Stevens. They spelled it wrong, but Scott Stevens, like, yes, Scott Stevens, absolutely unacceptable behavior for sure. Man, right? Literally go around looking to concuss people. It's not okay. I'm not proud of it. Do I have a retro Scott Stevens jersey? Yes. Right. Go figure that out yourself. I can't help you.
That's right. We're turning the last segment of the Giant Bombcast into sports talk. Send your sports-related emails.
Retire Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, yeah. That Wes Anderson-looking motherfucker. Anyway, you can send your emails about virtually any and everything if you send them to bombcast@giantbomb.com. Make sure to leave a little kiss on the cheek or in the mouth or in the email or whatever you want to do.
Just real quick. I'm sorry. Someone just pointed this out in the chat and they're 100% right. Lab 392. Yes. Tam is the bad guy. He's our bad guy.
Yes.
Like, without it. He is the criminal, right? He's never done anything illegal. Yeah. He is our Scott. He is the bad guy. I'm sorry to interrupt your end of show. I just had to get that out there.
You know, this is in reality where we find out that Lucy's the bad guy.
The mastermind.
That look from the bombathon, I mean, that says everything you need to see.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't. My heel turn, it was very short-lived. Damn it.
And then then Scout came along and it's like, come on.
Yeah, I can't. What am I going to do? I have a cute little dog. These damn pug thugs, man. I can't get over it. Anyway, Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Send your emails over there. The rest of this week, we still got stuff popping off. Jeff Grubb, you're going to continue your quest to beat Mike Tyson tomorrow in Grubberlang's Punch Out.
I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling very good. Also, someone pointed out that we're not that far away from Bombcast 777. I'm just gonna say it. We'll just do it live in Vegas. All right, there we go. Moving on.
Well, that makes sense.
Let's do it. Live in Las Vegas, 777, baby.
I'll go to Vegas. Slots. I'll go to Vegas. I'll bring my computer and I'll just set up in the middle of a casino, get a back rub.
Do a podcast right there.
You seem well positioned to gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah, me? Yeah.
Put the budget on black. Let's do it.
Someone just said I was the Rey Mysterio of the group. We'll never buy him as a heel. Yep. And then I'm gonna go get stem cells implanted into me and become youthful for forever.
He's 28. Yep.
He's 28. And then my son will go to jail. And be completely fine being beat up by a very buff woman, just like I'd be fine with that.
I mean,
anyway, Blake Club also comes back on Thursday. Unprofessional Fridays will be a hit, man. We're gonna do some stuff over there. This Thursday, nothing bad can happen on a Friday night, baby. Cause
I could use some of that right now.
The triumphant return Friday Night Forkin will fork away on a Friday. We're taking a pause on some programs like Arcade Pit. We're gonna refocus. We're gonna re-strategize. But Game S mornings rest of the week, correct, Grubb?
Yeah. We're gonna be going. We're gonna have the regular crew each day, as far as I'm aware. Look out for that. I'm ready to talk about some more video game news with my friends.
Yes. We also got some quick looks in the pipeline.
Yes, we do.
And we also got something else because of a box that was shipped to Daniel Reichert, perhaps a derby of sorts. Yes, Dan Reichert's going to learn how to bake derby cakes.
Yes, Dan Reichert's double D. Yeah.
Oh, my God. We should just call it Triple D.
Yeah.
Forget diners, drive-ins, and dives. It's Dan's something with a D, other word with a D.
Got it.
All right, folks.
Speaking of D's, we will be dumping too.
Yes. Dumping will. We gotta take a dump. Gotta be regular.
Bring the dump.
And with that, folks, I've been Jan. He's been Jeff, and he's also been Jeff. And you have been gorgeous. Stay tuned. Don't stay tuned. Go stretch. Go stretch your arms. Go wiggle your arms like this for a bit, and then switch to the other way. And then we will see you next week for the Giant Bombcast.